What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me. Let me move my chair up a little bit. What's going on, family? How y'all feel? It's Monday, July 21st, 2025, year of our Lord. And we are in the building. What is happening, family and friends? I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me and tuning in. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Let me turn on the chat real quick. AD, do you listen to Ace Hood? Not since the last time that he dropped something. You know, back when he was with Khaled, I think. He had dropped like some real motivational type junk, like on some work type junk or whatever. I thought that was pretty dope. But I haven't really heard from Ace Hood in a while. What's going on? Can y'all hear me good? What up, AD? If you wasn't rich, would you take a coin flip for $1 billion or take $1 million right now? I take $1 million right now. I take $1 million right now. Like when you say if you wasn't rich, like what does that mean? Are you still solidly middle class? Are you poor and on the streets? Are you trying to figure it out? I don't know what that means. Because when you say if you wasn't rich, I'm looking at it from the lens of you down and out, you ain't got nothing, everything is bad, and all goes left, right? If you're saying you solidly middle class, okay, so you're saying solidly middle class. Oh, well, if you going solidly middle class, I'll take the coin flip for $1 billion because I can go get an M. I ain't tripping about it, M. I ain't tripping about it. Right now I've turned down M's when it comes to opportunities and streaming and sponsorships and all of that. So if you um if you already there or if you solidly middle class, I can go get an M. You know what I'm saying? That's just work ethic, that's discipline, that's staying focused or whatever. So I'll take the coin flip in that situation. If I'm down and out and I'm poor as hell and I'm trying to figure it out and stuff like that, I'm gonna take the money in the bank. I'm gonna take the sure thing. I'm always gonna take the sure thing if I'm trying to figure it out. If I'm trying to if I'm already like on the cusp, I'm trying to make it, I'll take a coin flip all day long. 100%. 100%. What's going on, chat? What's up, family? How y'all feel? Y'all ready to live stream this today? We got a Q&A show tonight. So we got Q show tonight. I'm gonna do some tweaks to the platform to try to improve the platform. And what else we got? We got this live stream. And then I think on Wednesday, we're going to do the content creator live stream on Patreon. So if you're not a bag chaser, if you're not on Patreon, link is in the description. We're going to run it up. I might also have to shift some things this week because right now I'm in Vegas. So you can see Vegas out the window, right? That's Vegas. That's what I'm looking at. And then it's panoramic all around there or whatever. So right now I'm in Vegas, and tomorrow I'm gonna be in Vegas. Wednesday I'm gonna be in California back again. And so Wednesday through Friday, I might have to move some live streams around or whatever. But we gonna get it popping. We gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. We figure it out. What's up, family? How y'all feel? Y'all chilling? Y'all having a good time? Life is good. Vegas buffets, foods be so good. I always go to the Win. I go to the Win to go and eat at the buffet. Somebody said, "Are you at the Win?" No, I am not at the Win. No, I am not at the Win. I am not at the Win. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at Encore and I'm looking at the Win right up the street. So if you just look like that, that is the Encore and the Win over there. And that's the Bellagio. It's the Bellagio. That's the Bellagio fountains. So, no, I am not at the Win. No, 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 I am not at the Win. No, 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 I am not at the Win. Nope, I sure am not. All right. So everybody trying to play Where's Waldo, trying to figure out where it is that I am. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm chilling. I'm slow motion. All right. All right. Y'all ready to get started with the show? You stayed there when you saw Nas. I'd love to see Nas in Vegas. A lot of what y'all need to start doing is when you go somewhere, also plan it around a particular event or a particular, they had the summer league here and all of that stuff. So let's get it. Or now y'all trying to play process of elimination to try to figure out where I'm at. I'm not telling you anything else. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get started with the show? I always like to just kind of give my thoughts, but Monday is a little different because we got a lot to talk about. It's always a lot that happened over the weekend, so we got a lot to cover. We're going to cover Shannon Sharpe. Let me get the list real quick. We're going to cover Shannon Sharpe and a woman that was charged with murder after she killed the man that jumped off the Houston bus. She was only 19 years old. California jewelry store robberies. People are starting to fight back. They're starting to shoot back out. UPS layoffs and buyouts. WNBA. Hold on, wait. Shannon Sharpe, woman accused of murder. California jewelry store heists. UPS buyouts. WNBA. Tyler Perry pulled up on Kirk Franklin. I want to talk about Bitcoin. So we got to deep dive into the money. And then I also want to talk about ChatGPT agent. So we're going to do AI. We talking about entrepreneurship. We're going to go into the crime segments. We're going to do buyouts and layoffs. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about all of that. All right. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? China banned OnlyFans. Good for them. Good for them. They creating a better culture, and chicks can't just sell their box in order to try to come up. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get started. Yep. We got a full show lined up for y'all today. So if you are at work, if you are tapped in, then I am going to get you through your work day with meaningful information that's better than whatever it is that you experienced at work. All right. All right, let's go. First let me first acknowledge the Cash Apps before I get started with the show. Shout out to Mike That Dude. I appreciate you, Mike That Dude. Also for Christopher Jackson. Shout out to you, Shamira McKay, and Robert Banks and Spencer Campbell. Thank you to everybody that support the platform, getting it in. And let's go ahead and get started, y'all. All right, you in the office right now, ready for the news and laughter. I don't be knowing what I'm going to say when I'm going to say it. I just be jumping on here and getting it in. All right, y'all. So the first thing that I'm going to address is the news that came out on Friday, but it was late Friday afternoon, so I wasn't able to address it. But Shannon Sharpe. So Shannon Sharpe settled apparently. Apparently he went through a settlement, and that could be for multiple different reasons. Now, some people are speculating that Shannon Sharpe settled because, it was a possibility that, she could really get into his pockets and all of that stuff. I don't believe that. But let me first get into the article, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts. So initially, she was suing for $50 million. And I've been warning y'all. I've been warning y'all. I've been preparing y'all. I've been telling y'all. I've been trying to convince y'all that y'all need to chill out, relax, that it was going to be a trickle down effect on most guys when you started to see these lawsuits come out. First, it was the New York Survivors Act, and the New York Survivors Act then was mimicked over in Los Angeles. And a lot of that stuff went away, right? It was so many different people that got accused, and I don't want to bring their names back up because I think that they were falsely accused, but it was a lot of men, both famous, not so famous. It was thousands of lawsuits that were filed against guys. One of the more notable people that you can mention probably is Eric Adams. Eric Adams got accused of something from over 30 years ago. It was a woman that basically accused him from something that he allegedly did in the 90s. That went away. One of the reasons why a lot of these lawsuits go away is, or they're no longer reported on, even though if they're exploding news at the moment, is because a lot of guys don't want to deal with the BS of false accusations. I know that it be people in the chat, myself sometimes included, that says, yo, listen, if you ever accuse me or accuse certain people of things, then we just gonna have to fight it out to the death. And one of the reasons why that's important is because you need to set a precedent so that people can't just continue to do it. But most men do like most men do, and that is what they do. They settle. And the reason that they settle is not necessarily because they're guilty, but the possibility of being able to be on the hook for it, along with the exorbitant lawyer fees for continuing to fight this type of thing. And then also the last thing, and this is probably more important than the money itself, is that a lot of these guys don't want to go through the discovery process. So even if you did it, and even if, because like the text messages was released, right? Even if you didn't do anything, and even if it's a thing where it's like, okay, I didn't do nothing, I shouldn't be accused of anything, everything was consensual, it don't mean that you wasn't probably doing something that was crazy that people would be like, oh man, he might be a little sassy for that one, or oh, he just a little too freaky. Diddy, for example, right? I don't believe that Diddy did anything wrong outside of domestic abuse or something like that. Like something that had to do with domestic, something misdemeanor like. But when we started to talk about RICO charges and he had to actually go and spend the money to fight it, they say that he spent upwards of 20 to 30 million dollars in order to beat this case. And the judge still can sentence him to a decent amount of time, right? But he beat the RICO. And so we know, based off of the evidence that was presented, that Diddy under no circumstances should have ever been under a RICO charge, right? However, it was the discovery that absolutely had us like, ooh, as content creators, right? Diddy's reputation, dude rubbing gas, jizz on his nipples, and Cassie, taking two and three at a time, and you know what I'm saying? He liked to watch other dudes bust down his chick and all of this stuff. And so the discovery phase could just be just as impactful when you talk about a long-term earnings, especially with a Shannon Sharpe whose platforms may not necessarily suffered as much, but the potential bag that he was negotiating for, they said that Shannon Sharpe was upwards of over $100 million negotiation. All of that got shelved, right? So for a lot of guys, it's like, man, you're gonna ruin my earning potential. And this is why a lot of guys have to be careful. You don't want to be targeted. It's hard enough to deal with the fact that you could be targeted just because you are who you are and you are super successful. And people have no sympathy for rich people, even if the victim is the guy that's being accused, right? They don't care. Oh, you should have tightened up. Oh, you should have did things differently. Oh, it just blah, 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 so on and so forth. So when you start to think about the public perception, the potential for losing a lot of money, along with the prolonged battle of fighting this person, and then you still might have to pay out some money, most guys then just go ahead and go with the settlement. So I don't look at this, and we're going to get into the article. I don't look at this as a knock on Shannon Sharpe. I look at this as a cultural problem And we need to solve for these people that are filing these frivolous lawsuits because it's been happening for a long time. And I keep telling y'all that it's going to trickle down onto regular, everyday people every single time. Every single time. So it says Shannon Sharpe, Hall of Fame tight end and media personality, has resolved the lawsuit in which his ex-girlfriend accused him of rape, according to a woman's attorney. I'm trying to be a little bit more PG-13 in time because I know that y'all said that y'all working in the daycares and the churches. I got you. The woman whose lawsuit referred to her only as Jane Doe is seeking $50 million for pain and suffering, psychological and emotional distress, mental anguish, embarrassment and humiliation. Her attorney, Tony Busby. Tony Busby is the new, I don't know, who was the ambulance chaser from the 90s and the 2000s. This guy, man. This is the person that the women go to when they trying to finesse. They probably already got his name in their phone to dial. Who knows, right? But good God, man, this guy. Somebody said Busby is making a lot of money. I believe that these type of people are going to go to hell. Honestly, I believe. See, this is the difference. This is the thing when they say it's harder for a rich man or a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich man to go into heaven. This is that is a because some of the most successful people and the most richest people were God's favorite in the Bible. When you're talking about rich, you're talking about the spirit of a person that worships money, meaning that they're willing to ruin another person's life or willing to take away something that somebody has worked for or willing to leverage women for the box in order to take away a dude's earnings. I believe these are the type of people that give lawyers a bad name. When you talk about lawyers and legal representation, that should be a profession where you have to have great ethical standards in order for you to be able to perform those type of duties. People, taking advantage of the system in order to finesse people out of money. I hate those type of people, bro. I can't stand it. It's almost like they ruin it for everybody else. For myself, for example, right? I'm in the game, and nowadays we've already been able to sort through the real and the fake, right? But it was a time, especially during the pandemic, where there were a lot of guys that was taking out PPP loans and they was fronting and acting like they was really getting to it, or people was selling courses and the courses didn't offer you no value, or they would lie and give you bad information that was going to get you locked up, and so it was a lot of scammers and fraudsters and all of that type of stuff, right? And what it did was it gave the rest of people who actually was looking to add value into people's lives, who's actually built businesses, who's actually leveled up in corporate America, who's actually been successful in life, or who just wanted to add value into people's lives because they had information that was useful for people and they should be compensated for the information that they give out. It gave everybody a bad name. It ruined a lot of things. So now everybody was super skeptical. I use Umar Johnson as an example a lot of times because he came under the guise of I want to do good for the community, I want to help people, I want to add value into people's lives, I'm going to build this school for people. But then over time it showed itself to be nothing more than a finesse in order for him to be able to continue to maintain his lifestyle, right? And so it was a grift. It was 100% a grift. And so when people get a bad taste in their mouth from getting finessed, or they look at things with a skeptical eye, and that's how we look at politicians, because there's bad politicians that make it bad for everybody. Now we automatically assume every politician is bad. They make it bad for lawyers. We look at doctors and we say that they scamming insurance and all of this stuff, when there are some good people out there. But the fact of the matter is, when you get people like this that take advantage of the system and use women in order to finesse guys out of a bag, it makes it bad on everybody else. It's just the truth. It's just flat out the truth. And that's why I can't stand those type of people. Her attorney announced a dismissal Friday in a post on X, but did not specify the details of the settlement. Sharpe publicly denied the allegations immediately after his accuser filed suit in April, calling the case a shakedown attempt. I still believe it's a shakedown attempt. He has maintained that he and the Nevada woman were in a consensual relationship, which Busby confirmed in his tweet. After protracted, respectful negotiations, I am pleased to announce we have reached a mutually agreed upon resolution. All matters have now been addressed, and this is what he was saying in it. All matters have now been addressed. Might as well pull it up. All matters have now been addressed satisfactorily, and the matter is closed. A lawsuit will thus be dismissed with prejudice, right? So when I start to look at these type of stuff and I pay attention to the stuff that's happening and how things is playing out, again, it makes me throw up, bro. It's so nasty, it's so evil. And so people being taken advantage of because they are successful. Now, there are things that you need to do to protect yourself as a man. And one of the things that you need to do to protect yourself is stay away from these snow bunnies, these young snow bunnies. I have to listen, man. I'm always going to stereotype. I am always going to make that conversation a starter. I know that y'all think it's cool. I know, yeah, man, young white women, they nicer, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're more likely to be submissive. They're more likely to sue you and record your conversation and send it over to Tony Busby. That's what they're more likely to do. And y'all could fight me on it. Y'all could keep going back and forth. You can keep on talking about how, oh no, they better than no, they just like everybody else. I think that they're more conniving. And the minute that you get yourself in a relationship as an older man talking to a younger chick, and she just so happened to be a snow bunny, I'm gonna just keep it 100. You in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Listen, bro. If you're a fort, this is gonna bother some people, but it is what it is. If you are a super successful, for you regular dudes, go ahead, do what you want to do. Get with your snow bunnies, get with the young snow bunnies. You're a 45-year-old black man getting with and you make $70,000 a year, and you decide that you want to get with you a young snow bunny, and you want to spend your 401k money on her. Have at it. I really don't care. Nobody is gonna stop you. I know that y'all want to be seen. I know that you want to, you want to be acknowledged. You want me to make sure that I don't, Anton, I can't believe you said that. I promise you. Listen, on everything, on everything, on my daughter. I do not care, not even a little bit, about who you bust down as long as they are above age and you're not doing nothing illegal. Nobody is going to see you out in public and say, hey, it's you. I can't believe you're dealing with a young snow bunny. You're out of age. No, I promise you, bro. You think you got more clout than you really do. If you don't have no real presence in this world, if you're not making no moves, if you're not really getting a lot of money, and even if you are getting a lot of money, if it doesn't come with social proof, meaning that it's a visible thing, and I'm not saying that you should want the social proof, do your thing, live your life. I promise you, nobody cares. If you are one of those type of guys that gets offended at me saying, listen, you shouldn't talk to young snow bunnies if you got clout, you're not the person that I'm talking to. I promise you. Go do what you want to do. I believe that anybody should be able to talk to whoever it is that they want to do. I may not necessarily agree with it when it comes to my beliefs, or whether or not I think the age gap should be a little bit more narrow, but that's just my personal opinion. You, as long as you are not breaking laws, do what you want to do. If you want to go over there and get you a passport chick, if you want to think you got a family and you only see her twice a year because you're taking a Spirit flight over to Thailand or the Dominican Republic, and she told you that you are the man of her dreams, and no chick was checking for you in the United States of America, but you are the man of her dreams, and oh my God, I just want to be with you. I will be your family and I will take care of you. And you sending her money all year, and you flying back and forth 3 times a year in order to go visit her, and you think that that's your wife and your girlfriend. Have at it, bro. Have at it. I promise you, nobody is going to be mad at you if that is what you decide to do and live your life. I'm not checking for you. I know a lot of these dudes get mad at me. I don't understand. It's a new game out here. He just wished that he can go passport bro and all of that. I really don't. I promise you. I promise you, if I never paid for box here in the United States of America from a prostitute, I promise you I'm not looking to take a Spirit flight to a different country where she's filled with diseases and you was able to bust her down. I don't believe that. I don't believe that a chick that you was able to bust down should even be in my presence. So don't worry about it. Don't ever worry about whether or not I'm talking about you. I'm talking about men of significance that have visibility and a lot of money, whose net worth is probably well over $5 million. If you are one of those guys, be very, very careful about the guys that you go and get it, or about the people that you go and get involved with. Because if you are a 40-plus-year-old man, the majority of guys that get a lot of resources, they're above a certain age. They've put in the social status, they've worked their butt off, they've done all of that, right? If you are a guy that have a significant amount of money and a lot of clout and visibility, don't get buzzbeat, okay? That's all I'm saying. Do not get buzzbeat. Do not deal with a younger chick that is out here ready to tell on everything and give up all of the game on what it is that you've been doing. That's all I'm saying. Don't get sharped. Don't get Shannon Sharpe. That's all I'm saying. Make sure you got, there's just a quick warning. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me go ahead and read a couple of these super chats, and we're going to move over to the next part of the show. See how that went? Nice. Not even you. No harm, no foul. You're not even the person that I'm talking about. Kenneth Grisby says, I'm in Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam, but I'm still making sure I watch the show. Shout out to my people that's over in the Vietnam area, Vietnamese, hanging out with the Vietnamese people. I appreciate you for the 5-ball. AC Reviews the World says, what up, AD just became monetized today. Yeah, shout out to you. Thanks for all of the wisdom on Patreon. Are you still doing content creation video this week? I am. So if you guys want to tap into the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I am doing a live stream, and y'all also need to go and watch the previous videos that go along with it. Chris Cunningham says, if he has money to settle, he definitely has money to fight. Yeah, that's easy coming from people that's not in that position. It's easy coming from people that's not in that position. You don't really understand how much lawyer fees are. And then you also may have to be responsible for the other person's lawyer fees if they win. You don't really understand what these guys is going through. But I understand. I understand what y'all saying. I respect y'all opinion. I respect y'all insight and information. Let's continue over to the next show. Thank y'all. I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show. And thank you to everybody that tapped in. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get into this young man. You're a handsome young man. This is not even a young man. Oh, you're a handsome young man. This is not a young man, ladies and gentlemen. This is a young woman, 19 years old. This is just a quick hit. We're just going to kick it on this real quick. What's up, y'all? What's up, Just Montina? What up to everybody in the chat? Erica, you said it looks like a young man. They trying. They're really trying. They are, man. Look, bro. Look. Do y'all? Is it somebody in this chat that feel like they've been born into the wrong body? Just let me know. Just tell me. Is it somebody in this chat that believes that they were born into the wrong body? Because I'm genuinely curious what is going on and why are y'all feeling this way and what is happening out here in these streets. If you are a person that feels as though you were born into the wrong body, let me know right now, and then we can have a conversation, okay? But this is a hurtful story and it's bothersome. And the reason that it's hurtful and it's bothersome is because other people have to lose their life because you don't want to do what you want to do, or you don't want to do what you got to do. Check it out, y'all.
A woman accused of gunning down a man at a Metro bus stop is now behind bars. 19-year-old Asia Law had been on the run since Tuesday.
This afternoon, court documents reveal she may be tied to a separate shooting just one day earlier. Stephen Goen, live outside the Harris County Jail with how investigators were able to apparently connect the dots here. Stephen.
Yeah, Ron, on Tuesday, police had already told us that this bus stop shooting suspect may be connected to another case across town. Now she's been charged in both incidents. Investigators, they were able to track her down after she allegedly messaged an ex-girlfriend on social media, admitting she was the shooter. In court today, 19-year-old Asia Law talking out of turn.
Is she still in school? No, I'm not. Ma'am?
Most of the time when people get caught doing something, most of the time, and again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because I would like for most people that are committing crimes to actually get caught. All right. Most of the people that get caught doing a crime, and this is one of the reasons why we need to be a little bit more assertive with the people that are bad in our communities. Most of the time, people get caught because they talk too much. People get caught because they talk too much. People get caught because they talk too much. I'm not even just talking about crime. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about finesses. I'm talking about school. You cheated on somebody's paper. People can't wait. I don't know what it is about us as human beings. Not me. People cannot wait to say something. They just feel compelled to share something. Fellas, let me say this to you, and I want to say it one time, and then we're going to move on, because this is not about relationships right now. If your woman, and I've been beating this into y'all head for a long time, if your woman keeps on telling you that she wants to be closer to you, and it is important for you guys to share everything to be closer, not say, yep, okay, baby, I agree, and then share on a need to know basis. Listen, listen, listen. You are on a need to know basis. Let me tell you, fellas, do not fall for the finesse. Do not fall for the okie doke. Don't let her convince you that it is important for you to share everything. Oh my God, I want to share everything with you. Next thing you know, you sharing with her how, you know what I'm saying, when you was in prison, you didn't have no choice because they forced you, but you kind of liked it a little bit when you was a bottom. And so you wind up being somebody's girlfriend, but you're not gay no more. You completely healed from it. And next thing you know, she's going to be looking at you like, what the freak am I talking about? You know, I would usually say the other word, but I'm being mindful for the people that's in the chat, that's in the daycares. I got y'all. Trust me, I got you. You safe to watch the Anton Daniels channel. Next thing you know, you done told her how, you know what I'm saying, you only gave some head one time to that guy that was your celly because he was big, or you know, you just liked it a little bit, not a lot, but that don't make you gay because you was in prison. You know what I'm saying? Now you didn't told too much information. And so you should have died. You should have let that go to the grave with you. You didn't let it go to the grave with you. Now you got Molly in the chat calling you gay. You know what I'm saying? you say too much, you know? Oh my God, honey, I just want to be so close to you. Tell me everything. Nah, you didn't told her about some crime that you did back when you was 19, but you changed. You actually have changed your life in real life. You gave your life to the Lord. You went and got baptized. You went and got the Holy Ghost and all of this stuff. And she gonna get you in prison because that's an unsolved crime and that's still an open case. And so now you told her, and she cool with you for now. She gonna feel closer to you. You gonna bust her down. You gonna have the best night of your life until it's time to break up. It's time to break up. Now she feeling some type of way, and you owe her everything, and she was there for you. Next thing you know, she kicking it with Tasha K, and she telling on you, and now the police is gonna open up an investigation, and you're going to jail for the rest of your life because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. Most people that get themselves into situations do so because they just do too much of this. They pillow talk. They gotta tell their homeboy, yeah, man, I slept with her. Why you can't just have a good time and go home? Because now you could sleep with her more than one time because she trusts. Oh, you know what? He a real one. He a real one. He ain't pillow talking. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do all. Now she done moved on. She got a family. That was 5 years ago. Y'all had a great time. You see her out in public. Now you got to give her extra hugs to let her man know that you was with her before. She got a whole family, a whole situation and stuff. Now you doing too much. You doing too much. You jumped on a podcast. You got to let the homies, man, forget that chick, man. She wasn't nothing back in the day. I used to bust. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. You trying to ruin people's families. ruin people's lives, just pillow talking. You gotta tell your homies. I remember I did a show where the guy, man, no, you gotta tell the homies. Why? That's why I don't hang with nobody. That way you ain't gotta expect nothing from me. I don't hang with nobody. If you see me, it's a strong possibility I'm gonna be with the family. I'm gonna be with somebody that I Lord, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm a solo artist. I rock alone. That way I ain't gotta deal with no expectations from anybody telling me and saying what it is that I should and shouldn't do. You can speculate all you want. You'll never be able to confirm. You'll never be, man, Anton got this going on. Keep guessing. That's good for content, but it don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing at all. You'll never ever be able to confirm. You'll never see a woman, not ever, never ever, ever. Not a homie, not a woman, a homie coming, yo, me and Anton used to do dirt back in the day. Nope, you never see it. Yo, Anton, nope, you never see it. I'm a solo artist. I keep low pro. I use aliases. My DoorDashes they be surprised. Sometimes I have to go down because I have it just delivered down to the concierge. That way I ain't got to see them. I got a delivery for Jason. Switch your name up every 2 weeks. I ain't kicking it with you. I don't want to talk. I'm not interested. I'm not sharing it. Who you see is what you get. And when you go home, that's what you got. That's the end of the conversation. Just talking too much. Just yeah. Everybody got to talk.
Place your back on the wall. I was not talking to you.
When just moments before, she was silent as a magistrate judge read out the charges against her. Law now accused of aggravated assault and murder tied to 2 separate shootings in 2 days about 11 miles away.
This is a felony offense involving violence.
The first incident unfolded Monday around 12:45 p.m. at this McDonald's near Tidwell and Spalding. In court records, police say that Law asked for a cup of water but grew agitated when she had to wait. Investigators say she then threw the water and told the cashier, quote, "I'm going to spare your life today. You're lucky you're at work."
That's wild. That's wild. What is up with y'all targeting McDonald's workers? What y'all don't like McDonald's people that work at McDonald's is trying to make a good living? When you get mad and your life is going bad, you got to go threaten a McDonald's worker because they made you wait for some water. Yo, you lucky. I'm gonna spare your life today. Nigga, what you mean? That's not doing me a favor. You're supposed to not kill people. What's wrong with you? That should have been an immediate phone call to the police. Hey, somebody said that they gonna kill me. You know I'm gonna trump up the charges 100%. You know what, man? That's why I'm gonna spare your life today. Oh yeah? Say it again. Don't worry about it. Yeah, he said that he was gonna kill me, my whole family. He said that he wanted to unalive my youngin and all of that. You mess around and find out. Keep talking. You know what? Because I know you just talking anyway. Because most people they just talk. People that gotta say it, they're not really doing nothing. Keep talking. Oh yeah, what you gonna do? Yeah, how you gonna do it? Keep talking. I got 911 on speed dial, police. Yeah, he said that he was gonna kill my grandmother, my unborn baby. He said that he was gonna blow up the whole police station. Yes, he did. They on their way for you right now. They stay on their way for you right now. Mess around and find out. Say the wrong thing on the wrong day and watch the police arrest you and have you in alligator Alcatraz. Keep threatening people and see how that's going to play out for you.
After that incident, investigators say the McDonald's worker and their friend pulled out from this parking lot and saw someone who they knew at that nearby bus stop. When they stopped to talk to them, they saw the suspect sitting there as well. Then investigators say Law pulled out a gun.
The defendant ended up pointing a firearm and actually discharging that firearm at least 3 times towards the complainant and the complainant's vehicle.
Then on Tuesday, around 9:30 a.m., police responded to this shooting at a Metro bus stop near Antoine and Pinemont. Investigators say a man tried to board the bus, then started to assault the driver. That's when Law allegedly stepped in. Once she and the man got off the bus, police say she pulled a gun and shot him multiple times in the chest. Now, Law is being held on a $50,000 bond for Monday's incident. For that murder charge, she has not had a bond yet been set. She's expected back.
Bury these people under the jail. That's crazy. That is crazy. It's sad. It really is sad for somebody to be getting off the bus and it just get killed like that. And then you know that they probably did the other murder because it's an escalation, right? They got used to it. They probably got away with it on the first one, and now they out here running around killing people. It is sad. So prayers up for the family, from this handsome young man down there. A lot of these people got identity issues. They got issues outside of whatever it is that they're dealing with, and so it's the people that suffer from it as a result of it. Let me read a couple of super chats and then we're going to go ahead and continue on with the show. We got a lot to cover. We have a lot to cover, ladies and gentlemen, because there's so much that happened over the weekend. Let's see. Trey Day says, AD, you going to talk about the Spirit Airlines kick woman off that was wearing booty shorts? I already covered it on the Anton Daniels channel, so it's no need in covering it. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Only the most important things we'll deep dive further into on this channel. Hoodie Hood says, you see about that car that plowed through the crowd in LA? I am not familiar with that. Did you send it to me in my email, antondaniels413@gmail.com? I'm not familiar with that. You gotta bring that up. You gotta let me know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm not familiar with it. One more thing of local news before we get into the UPS drivers, okay? Because I think that this more or less speaks to the culture of what's happening in California. I'm a fan of California. I can't lie. I'm a fan of California. Not the liberal parts, because there's a lot of conservative parts, not the politicians, not Karen Bass, the Los Angeles mayor, not Gavin Newsom. But we have to identify the trash culture that's in places. And then we have to speak a little bit differently about our personal experiences, because I realize, and I have to bring myself to the front of the congregation. I realize that I can't just put every single thing into one basket. I can identify the trash culture and politicians in California, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the entire state is bad, because I was hanging out in California. I'm going back over to California on Wednesday. It is a phenomenal place to be. Man, listen. They ruined the state, but the weather, that coastline is different. It just hit different. So this is the conclusion that I came to, guys. And I'm gonna share the story shortly. Now, y'all tell me about this idea. Because one thing that I was at a dilemma about, in the time that we usually here in Michigan decide that we want to go and be snowbirds, is usually during the winter time. Either we'll head down to Miami because hurricane season is over in October, November, and then we'll stay throughout the winter. That's what happens when usually people retire. They snowbird down to Miami, but we love Michigan spring, summer, and fall. I love Michigan spring, summer, and fall. I'm never going to not be in Michigan. I'm out here in Vegas right now. I'm not even going to be outside. I'm going to be going through the casinos. You know what I'm saying? Because you know that most of the casinos is attached. I'm going to be through the casinos unless I have to leave off of the strip, because it's 100 degrees out here. Who want to live in a place where the summer is 100 degrees? Sometimes it'd be 110, 114. I love Vegas. But it be 110 degrees out here sometimes. And even though there's no humidity, who wants to be out here in 110 degrees? It ain't nothing sweet about 110 degrees. Now, we can deal with it. We cool with it. It's better than the snow. But 110, that Arizona heat is something different. The Arizona heat is something different. So I love California, because California is summertime Detroit weather-wise all year round for the most part. in Southern California, the San Diego area, the Newport Beach area, man, you talking about low in the 60s, high in the 80s all year round. You can't beat. Listen, we could say a lot of things about California. The weather is not one of them. It is the most perfect place weather-wise. From a year-round perspective, you can pick places that's better than it in the wintertime or places that's better than it in other times. Year-round, it is perfect all year round. And that is the one thing that is holding it back, because they believe that they can just absolutely destroy everything and get away with anything that they want to get away liberal-wise because they got good weather and people are going to stick around because of good weather. I know about the In-N-Out Burger lady that's leaving. So here's my dilemma before I get into the story. So this is what I think I'm going to do because y'all know I got season tickets. There's a lot of things that I like to be back home for, especially in the wintertime. I don't want to just spend the entire winter in any place. So what I think I'm going to do is maybe you do 1 week on, 1 week off. You kind of plan it to where the weeks of the games that you don't want to go to, you know what I'm saying, you can give those away to your friends and families or to some corporate person or whatever, or to some business partner that you're trying to swoon. Luciani Jane says, Anton, you too wishy-washy. You never liked Cali. No, I don't like California politics. I still don't like California politics. I still don't fuck with Los Angeles. I still don't mess with Los Angeles. No. I am very consistent. I don't like Karen Bass. I don't like Gavin Newsom. I don't like the liberal policies. I don't like you can steal up to $1,000 and still get away with it. I don't like Skid Row. I've been there multiple different times. But I absolutely love the weather, and for people that have resources to be able to get out the way and don't have to live on Skid Row, it is a paradise. And I still don't like y'all taxes. For some reason, y'all are under the impression that you have to like everything about a place, or you have to dislike everything about a place, and that you can't be objective and separate the different issues that you don't care for. I love Detroit. Detroit is historically a blue voting city. I love the transformation of the city. I don't like the politics that's inside of Detroit. I see people that came into the chat and they said, yo, Anton, what do you think about the mayoral race? I won't answer it. So y'all have to be able to separate the two. And if you can compartmentalize your life, then you're able to be a much more effective human being. You cannot necessarily like your job or like the company that you work for, but you can love the compensation and the package that go along with it. And so you're enduring. You learn how to compartmentalize. All right, listen, I got to do what I got to do it so I can do what I want to do. But you don't have to love all of anything. I don't even love all of anybody. My own family members, I'll be like, you're a little different. But I love Thanksgiving dinner and I love making sure that they're taken care of. So you're going to have to learn how to compartmentalize. There are good things and bad things about every single city, every single state. I love the weather inside of California. I hate the politics and the taxes in California. Do you understand it now? Let me show you something else that I don't like about California. I'll show you exactly why I say what I say. This is another thing I don't like about California. I don't like y'all gun laws.
Story we're tracking for you. Would-be thieves armed with hammers try to smash their way inside a jewelry store in Anaheim.
But they didn't get very far. KCAL News reporter Lauren Posen has the security video that shows the store owner fighting back.
This business is locked down. There's a double door entry and bulletproof glass. Now, the thieves were able to get into that first door you see there, but that's as far as they got. It's chaos in the parking lot of Alameda Jewelry in Anaheim. A group of robbers jump out of their cars, some armed with large hammers, and start smashing the glass.
Is this something that you love about California since you lived there, baby girl? Because I would like to believe that anybody that loves California, lives in California, don't like the fact that this type of stuff takes place and plays out in California. I would like to imagine that you're objective enough to say, you know what, 20 people jumping out of stolen vehicles in the middle of the daytime with sledgehammers trying to beat open the doors and rob a jewelry store probably is something that I think needs to change inside of California. No? Or do you like it all? Oh, you able to compartmentalize and say, this is what I don't like, and this is what I do like, and this is why we need to do things differently. But I love living here because the weather is awesome. Okay, so now you do understand what I'm saying, right?
As trying to break in. Inside, the owner and his employees were just going about their day. He asked us not to show his face, but he did tell us what happened next.
And second, I heard the ladies, the girls work with me, the employee. She do very high noise. What? I don't know what's going on.
And another angle from the store's security cameras. The first door shatters, glass flying everywhere. Only one door left between the burglars and the showroom. That's when the owner bolts from the back and grabs his gun.
I think it for one thing, to protect my business and my employer, I have to shoot. I do one shot to scare first.
It worked. The group panicked, scattered, and scrambled back into their cars before speeding off. A bullet hole is still etched in the glass beside the door, a lasting reminder of how close they came. The owner says he's put serious security measures in place, and he believes that's exactly why the thieves didn't make it inside.
36 years job with my family to do this business.
This business isn't the first one robbers have targeted, but it is the first where a store owner has fought back. First one robbers have targeted, but it is the first.
Look at all of those people out there. Look at them. Pay attention to them. Look at all of those people out there. Look at all of those people. It had to be at least 20 to 25 people that are out there. The cars that they are jumping out of are Mercedes, Alfa Romeos, which means that those are stolen vehicles. It's a strong possibility that every last one of these dudes, had they got caught, would probably be back out on the street within 2 weeks. The laws and the culture have to change. And more importantly, the store owners and the people should not be subjected to this. The In-N-Out CEO, the woman, I did a review video on it. It's going to probably be releasing sometime this afternoon. She said, you know, they've been in California and Irvine and stuff. She said it is a hard place to raise a family. It is a difficult place to do business. Look at these people. And you know what the worst part about our culture is that we'll sit there and question whether or not the store owner should have been able to pull out his gun and defend himself. We question whether or not homeowners should be able to defend themselves against people that are breaking into their homes, breaking into their garages, breaking into their cars. There used to be a time in culture and society, and maybe this was just the 90s, maybe it was in Detroit before we had social media, that people were scared to rob certain places. People were scared to rob jewelry stores. People were scared. Bro, there's no way on God's green earth that at any point you would have been able to come into a jewelry store with a hammer, with sledgehammers, and beat open the jewelry doors and then take all of the stuff. You was going to be an outline in chalk. That was how it used to be in culture. People didn't do certain things because they understood that it was going to be deadly consequences that went along with it. You was 100% sure that something was going to happen. It wasn't even a conversation. It wasn't even a question. Now we live in a culture and a society where we are punishing people for defending their businesses, for defending their homes, for defending their properties. And we're rewarding the suspects. We're rewarding the criminals. We're rewarding the thugs. And they're walking out in droves and they doing all of this nonsense. I come from a culture where everybody, literally everybody had a pistol inside of their house. Probably a shotgun. Everybody had one inside of your crib. Legal, illegal, it was inside of your crib. And if somebody came in, then it was a strong, or if you came home and somebody was in your crib. It was a good chance somebody is going to end up in a chalk outline, or somebody is going to have a trail of blood. That's how my cousin got killed. I told y'all about it. I said that my uncle was a lawyer, and he used to stay with us, and he was 2 years older than me, 2 or 3 years older than me. And my mom and my whatever raised him. You know, he was staying with us over the summers a lot of times, and even during the school year a lot of times. And he went out to California. I told y'all this before. And he was out there in the streets. He came back with all of this stuff on or whatever, like, yeah, I'm doing good. You know, everything is good. We knew he was in the streets. He went back out there to California. He ran away from home. He was out there in the streets with them dudes. He broke into the wrong crib, and he tried to fire off on the wrong cop. And they put something in him. Now, I could sit here and say, oh, but that's my cousin. No, he got exactly what he came for. He got exactly what he came for. He went out there, he took a chance, and he came up snake ass. His ass was literally snake ass. And that was years ago. I was young. That was 20-something years ago. I was in my teens by the time he died, I think, like that, or my early, about to go into my teens. And it was just a learning lesson. It was like, yo, mess around and find out. Mess around and find out.
Where a store owner has fought back. In June, burglars made off with a staggering $1.5 million in gold and diamonds after using power tools to cut through the roof and safes of a family-owned jewelry store in El Monte. In Encino, another crew used a blowtorch to slice through the wall at an Encino jewelry mart, stealing from 5 different jewelers. And just a month earlier, in May, 2 separate crews hit stores in Glendale and Simi Valley, breaking in through the roof and ransacking the businesses. Back in Anaheim, the store owner says enough is enough.
I hope so to the government to see what's going on in California from the north to the south. You have to give at least the ownership, the business, some protects or some easy to carry the guns or arm to defend herself.
No business owner should be subjected to this nonsense, honestly. And again, this is the reason why I say that I love California. I love the weather. I don't love the policies. I don't like the protection of criminals. I don't like how people keep making excuses why people should be able to do stuff like this. And I think that people should be able to protect their businesses and protect their homes. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into this whole UPS conversation. But first, before we do so, let me make sure that I acknowledge y'all, because I like to acknowledge everybody that contributes into the platform. First of all, thank you to everybody that's here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put on this show, the Millionaire Morning Show, whether or not I'm here in Vegas, I'm back in the studio in Detroit, if I'm out in California, we're going to make sure that we put on a great show for you guys and hopefully get you through your work day. All right. So make sure you share this with your family and friends. Carrington Love Jr. says, I swear you got to call a SWAT on the blacks of today. But see, here's the thing. Let me extend a little bit more grace. I'm not sure that that was all black people. Come on, man. Let's talk about it. Out in California, I've been doing a little bit more profiling, and I've been seeing the people that's been spray painting. It's some white people, it's some Hispanics, it's some black people, it's some people. They don't discriminate in California. When you go out to Chicago or something, you either gonna get a Hispanic population or a black population that's doing a crime. If you head out to Florida, there's a possibility you're gonna get some Cubans, you're gonna get some Venezuelans, You're never really going to get a lot of black people that are committing crimes inside of Miami, right? Unless you go over to certain areas, Opelika, Little Haiti, or something like that. In California, a lot of them is not black. Most of those people are not black that are committing these crimes. These people that are running in these jewelry stores and all of this stuff, they are not black. They are a lot of other stuff. They are mixture. They are smorgasbord of stuff. They're a whole thing, but most of those people are not black. They not black. So, we got to make sure they be Mexican, they be a lot of stuff. So we got to make sure that we identifying and we profiling effectively, because just because they got on hoods and black hoodies don't always mean that they black. Those people over in California, they mixing it up. And most of them are not black that's breaking into these stores and committing these crimes, that's following people home. They not black, bro. Tucker Luck says, I'm petitioning for a Patreon meetup in San Diego. You would love it. Finest city in Cali, hands down. We could take that into consideration. I'm with it. I'm waiting. We gonna see. The closer I get to the number that I want to be at on the Anton Daniels channel, the closer we are going to get to. Once we hit past a certain number, I'm going to reveal to y'all exactly the city. All right. We're going to have a real celebration. Pug Dad says Red Rock Resort is about 20 minutes from the strip. You'll love it. Trust me. I know about Red Rock. Listen. I have been to Vegas probably no less than 20, 25 times. I know all about Vegas. The one place that I haven't been in is Reno. Jay, and let me give y'all a little bit of insight on Vegas too. For y'all that's just coming to Vegas, if it's your first time visiting, if you're walking down the strip or whatever like that, be careful because it's a much longer walk than you think. You know how you got your mirrors on your car and it say things in the mirrors is closer or further than it appears? Here in Vegas, every hotel is further than it appears. You're going to get your steps in. Put your Apple Watch on, put your Apple Watch Plus on, your Apple Watch Pro, and you will be out there walking. I'm not a heavy guy like that. I like to go to the Bellagio Auditorium or whatever they want to call it, whatever, so on and so forth. I like to hit Fremont here and there or whatever. Another thing about Vegas that a lot of people don't say, because I see a lot of people that be online like, Vegas ain't the same anymore. It's too expensive. They need to bring it back to where the mob was running it when you could get a cheeseburger for this. And listen, bro, listen. If you want it, people don't really understand Vegas. If you want to have fun in Vegas, then number one, like if you're trying to do some all-inclusive type stuff, like for example, the hotel that I'm at, right? I ordered room service and it was like $85 for like some breakfast food. It was like a platter of fruit and some eggs and bacon. And I think it was like some toast that I didn't even eat. It was like $85. All right. Here's the thing. I know that it's going to cost me for the lifestyle and the luxury that I decide to have at Vegas. If I stay at the Bellagio, if I stay at, Aria, if I stay at the Wynn, you stay at Encore, you stay at some of these places, you on the strip, you're going to pay strip prices. Go to Fremont Street, go to the Container Park, get off the strip and go eat at In-N-Out Burger. You're going to get regular prices and regular food. If you're trying to go to the buffets, if you're going to go to the Wynn buffet, if you're going to go over there to the Conrad, if you're going to go to the Cosmo, if you're going to get a drink at some of these places, you're going to pay strip prices. You're going to pay party prices. You're going to pay party prices, all right? So stop complaining about your experience here. If you're doing touristy stuff, you're going to get touristy prices. By the time you get here the second or third time, you're going to know how to do Vegas right if you want to come here cheap on a budget. If you come in here for a fight, it depends on what weeks you come in, what weekends you come in. If you come in for a major event where a lot of people is in town, then you're going to get, the prices of the hotels and all of that is going to be high. I don't pay for my hotels in Vegas. Everything is comped. All of my food is comped. Every event that I go to is comped. Every show that I go to is comped. Every car that I drive is comped. So for me, coming out to Vegas is really just the price of the plane ticket. You know what I'm saying? So it's different for me. I have a ton of money on my accounts as far as that's why I always said MGM Properties. And so a lot of my stuff is different. The price that I don't pay what everybody else pay. The only thing that I'm paying is tip money. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a little bit different for me than it is for other people because, I understand how to do Vegas. When I come out to Vegas, actually, to be honest with you, it just depends on when I come because I can call a host and be like, hey, I want to go out to Vegas. And they're going to send, they'll make sure that I go. Even the stuff that's not comped, if I decide that I want to, that I want to go and just pay some stuff. I'm pulling up my tier credits right now. Yeah. So my tier credits, my balance of my tier credits, I got $3,200 to spend in my tier credits. That's just sitting there. If I want to just go and go to Gucci and get a $3,000 bag or something like that, I could just go and do it because, that's what I just got a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I'm looking at my MGM reward price. That's why, I only stay at MGM properties a lot of times because, I have the clout with it to be able to do some of the stuff that I'm doing, right? So, you got to do Vegas right. I got $3,200 in comps. That's for anything. It's to go shopping, food, all of that. And I just pulled that up or whatever right there, right? So because I'm platinum, I'm about to be noir. So, you got to, somebody said Anton is a trust fund kid. He ain't never do stuff. Yep, I'm a trust fund kid. I never did nothing, never earned nothing. Facts. Trust fund kid, 100% facts. You got it. I agree with you. My daughter is going to be a trust fund kid, that's for sure. Let me ask y'all another question, and then we'll get into the show. Let me ask y'all another question, and we'll get into the show. All right. Let's say hypothetically that I was a trust fund kid. Even though I grew up in the inner city of Detroit, even though I worked at the plant up until I was 26 years old, I don't know what type of trust fund kid works at the steel mill up until he's 26 years old. Even though I went broke in 2008 and moved back into my mom's basement, even though I did all of that, right? Let me ask y'all a question. Aside from, that type of stuff, what do y'all have against people that are successful? Why do y'all want us to be broke? What do you get out of being broke? Like, don't you want your child to have a trust fund? Like, the thing that I didn't have as I was growing up is the thing that because I try to still balance it. I try to teach my daughter how to work hard and, how to make sure that she's on top of things and to have, failed experiences in controlled environments so that she'll learn a lesson. Don't you want your child to have a trust fund? Like, was that supposed to be a knock? If you said, let me tell you about the Black community, this is how dusty we are. If somebody says, man, that's why you was a former drug dealer, we don't blink. This is how dumb we are. This is how retarded we have been conditioned to believe. If somebody say, yeah, man, you was dealing drugs when you was younger, we don't hate on that. We actually give people stripes for that. Oh, you was in the streets? Oh, dog, that's crazy. But if somebody came along and was like, yeah, man, my parents took good care of me. I had a 2-parent household. I was raised in a great environment. And, I was a trust fund kid, which I wasn't. But let's just say hypothetically, for the sake of the conversation, I wish I was. That would have made it awesome. But let's just say, for example, you was raised in a good environment with 2 parents and, you never dealt drugs, which I never did drugs. I never dealt drugs or anything like that. Why do we look at that as a bad thing? Because in other communities, that's to be celebrated. Listen, just because your mother was a whore, that I don't look at my upbringing as a problem. Are you? Because your father dipped out on your mother and you don't know who your father is that supposed to mean that you get more stripes in the hood? Because guess what? Nobody cares about your hood. Just because you lived a life where you still got PTSD, and every time that you go into a place where it's too quiet because you're used to hearing sirens every day, that's not the life that I want for my daughter. That's not the life that I want for my people. That's not the life that my nephews experienced. The goal was to grow so that we made the sacrifices so that our children didn't have to go through the same things, but hopefully they learn some of the same lessons so that they'll be grounded and smart and have good character as they grow up. I don't, when somebody calls me like, man, you had a trust fund, I don't look at that as a negative. I'm like, man, that means that I really did something right in life, because the fact that I didn't have a trust fund, but then I've achieve some of the highest heights that allow for you to really believe that, that's a blessing. It's a blessing to be in a space to where I can travel anytime that I want, that my daughter is in a great space, that she literally just texted me and said, Dad, I'm on a plane, I'm on a flight. That's a blessing. Stop thinking and pedestalizing this dusty behavior. You're not any more real. You're not any better. You don't get any accolades from it. And all it shows to other people that actually have great diction and know how to communicate and can speak proper English, all it shows is that you're an idiot. You're a loser, but you don't have to stay a loser. Your father was a loser. Your mother was a loser. Your environment was a loser. You joined the gang because you had no kind of, you felt like you wanted to be wanted. Half of y'all joined a fraternity because you wanted to have a community. Some of y'all joined a fraternity for the right reasons. Other of y'all joined a fraternity because you wanted to feel like you belong somewhere, and you've never been taught to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. I never needed nobody. I was always confident in myself. You know what I'm saying? So I never needed to join a group. I never needed to join a gang. Even if I was raised in a hood, I never felt like I needed to do that. You too can have your own mind. You too can have your own talking point. You don't have to be gay your whole life. You would have joined the gang because you wanted to belong so bad. You would have let them bust you down inside of your mouth. You would have let them take your boy toy. That's how much you really felt like you still want to be. If you 28, 29, 30 years old, 40 years old, you still talking about this dusty behavior, when you going to grow out of it? When are you going to grow out of your dustiness? When you going to grow out of like this thing where you think that the fact that you got touched on when you was a little boy by your uncle, you know what I'm saying? When are you going to grow out of the fact that you didn't have a trust fund? We all, listen, the Bible says, the word of God says that it is a commandment. It was a commandment for you to leave something for your family. Just because your daddy died in a fish fry and nobody cared anything about him, and you had to bury him and he never gave you nothing, and you just met him for the last 6 months of your life and then he died right after that, don't mean that he was a real one. He wasn't real. Your daddy is a sucker, bro. Your daddy left you to fend for yourself. Think about that for a second. Your mama couldn't even survive on her own. You was raised as a latchkey kid because your mama had to try to survive from the bad decisions she made in men, and your father never came to help you and never came to save you. That is why you have this dusty mentality. Your father failed you, bro. Your community failed you. Your uncles failed you. Black people failed you. Democrats failed you. That's why you hate women so much, bro. That's why you became an incel. That's why you started to join groups and communities, and you always pick the wrong thing, and it's not even your fault. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying that you change your mentality. That's why you've been in and out of prison. That's why you're not tripping about going to jail every day. You know what I'm saying? Oh, skip it. I don't care. You don't care about committing crimes. You're not worried about getting locked up. All of your friends and family is in there. That's where your community is. You're used to being in a dusty environment. We don't roll like that. You're used to this. You're used to suffering. You used to being on your knees. You used to answering to another man and saying, see, the only men that we answer to is the people that then give us the equity in whatever projects that we getting into. And so we can continue to run up a bag. We're trading our skill set for resources so that we can feed our family. You answer to other men just because you answer to other men. Even if you didn't get your boy toy took, you still gay. Because you voluntarily put yourself in a position to have to answer to you still gay. You're a gay man, even if you haven't got your bussy took, because you do what they tell you to do. Hit him or we gonna hit you. You ain't never stood for nothing in your life. You a follower. The fact that you said that to me shows you a follower because you're just talking off of rumors. You a rumor follower. You use the rhetoric of other people because you are nobody. You hate yourself. And I hate you for hating yourself. I hate you for hating yourself. I hate you for being a gossip girl. You a gossip girl. You a gossip girl. That's what you are. And I hate that for you. And I want better for you. Keep on texting me. Keep on asking for coaching calls. Keep on asking me to be able to help you. I can't help you. Help yourself. You a sucker. Make up in your mind that you want to do better. Make up in your mind that you want to do better. Don't be gay. Don't have a gay mindset. Don't have we men. We men. There's nothing wrong with getting to the money. Stop being broke. Keep on asking people to go 25-75. You ain't even on a 50-50. You a 25-75. You a needy. You a needy person. That's why you don't tip. Y'all keep lying, talking about, man, they should pay them a livable wage. You should make more money. You in America, you dusty man. I really want to go in, but I know that the daycares is listening. You don't tip because you're broke. You don't tip because you're broke. I see you type of dudes at the change machines. I see you with your bottles. You're a future crackhead. That's what you are. You a dope fiend. You a fentanyl user. That's what you are. And it's all because your daddy. You know how they say, you can trace certain things through your DNA, through your lineage. Your daddy was a crackhead. You a crackhead. Your son gonna be a crackhead. You got a base head lineage. You're here on this earth in order to feed other people through your poverty. You're gonna make license plates and you're gonna suck dick, and then you're gonna sip on fentanyl and you're gonna make drug dealers rich. That's what you are. That's what your son. You're not gonna leave your son any kind of trust fund. You're not gonna leave him anything. You don't even got life insurance. You're an insurance liability. If they tested you, if you tried to get insurance past a certain age, past a certain amount, they would test you and say, no, you're a crackhead. We can't insure you. I had the insurance people come to my office. I got concierge doctors. They came and they did a full panel on me and all of that. They said, you're clean as a whistle. We're going to lower the amount that you're paying in insurance as far as your life insurance policy. If they tested you, they would say he a basehead, nicotine, disease field, HIV. You're a dusty. You're nothing. You're nothing but a speck of dust. I walk past you every day and I don't even acknowledge you. The world don't like you. The world does not like you. They look at you as a leper. You were born to be a poverty-stricken person. That is what God has ordained for you to do, to be a stepping stool. And he has hardened your heart. You're nothing. You're nothing but a speck of dust. You're a change fountain diver. You dive for money inside of the fountains in order to be able to feed yourself for the day. You're a beggar. That's what I look at y'all as. You're a beggar. You're nothing. The only reason that you even have my attention is because I want to use you as an example of what other people are not supposed to do. You're a hooper. That's all you are. You're a Neanderthal. You resorted to playing sports because you couldn't study in class. You can't focus because you was born as a crack baby. You had crack in your veins because your mother was a user. You was born suffering. They didn't even think you was going to make it in a hospital. You're nothing. Nothing. At all. Not even a speck of dust. Remember that when you talk to me. Anything you say to me, I wish on you 1,000 times in a negative way. Anything you say to me negatively, I wish on you 1,000. I wish it on your family. Anything you say positive to me, I wish it, I pray it on your family. I curse you or I bless you. It depends on what your mouth say. Listen, my words got power. God love me. Anything you say negative to me, I wish it on you 1,000 times. Anything you say positive to me, I wish it on you 1,000 times. Let me read some of these super chats. I don't mind getting derailed. I don't mind getting derailed. I don't mind getting derailed. Let's get back to the show. Making too much money. I'm in a different tax bracket. Shout out to you, Jay. I appreciate you. Poor Legacy says the life you save will be your own. Corey P says, AD, have you been hearing about T Grizzly possibly setting up his aunt? I have been hearing about it. It's been trending and they say she owned his masters. Here's the thing though, Corey. I've been hearing about it. Obviously, everybody in Detroit has been hearing about it. They've been hearing about it for a long time. I don't go off of rumors. I have to have facts, and I don't deal with rumors because anybody can make up something and say that he set up his own knot and stuff like that. That's A. So I don't believe it until somebody actually come with facts because rumors is take on life of their own. Number two, I stay away, especially from rumors from people in my own city because they people in my own city. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to politics, when it comes to people that's in the city, because everybody know everybody and everybody is connected to everybody, especially if you somebody. And so I kind of stay away from that. Yes, I have been hearing about it though. I have been hearing about it, but I don't have anything to say about it. I don't have no comment about it. Mr. Joe says California got a melting pot of degenerates. Facts. Kay says, can we get a Hebrew Israelite skit on Friday? I don't know what that's the thing, y'all. I don't know what I'm going to say when I'm going to jump on here. That's why I look at the chat as my co-host. My grandma says that right now is way worse than 08. Your grandma is wrong. Your grandma wrong. 08 was. I'm going to go back and show y'all some of the footage from 08. The New Culture Empire, the reality is most Black people don't ever believe that they can achieve anything more than what has been passed down to them. So when they see what they really wish was them, they want to shame you for not struggling like them. But that's the thing. They don't know what your struggle was. They at daycare asking, what's a bussy? I know it was about to go left when he said, let me ask y'all something. What up, AD? What up, though? What's happening, y'all? 50% sip. I appreciate you for the super sticker. CC Mori says, I love these speeches. It's very motivational to my ear. New Boss says, damn, AD crashed out on dude. I ain't crashed out. I was very matter of fact with him. I love it when the AD go do-rag murder mook on the Dusty. Because listen, change your rhetoric, change your speech, change the way that you talk to people. If you start to be more positive for people, this is what I know for sure, and then we're going to get into this UPS conversation. If you start to be more positive in how you interact with people, you'll have positive outcomes. I know y'all don't believe that. I know y'all believe that the world owe you something, but they don't. If you start being more positive and more fruitful when it comes to how you deal with people, the world will treat you better and you'll get better results. But you keep walking around talking stuff and being negative, then listen, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. You sow seeds of greatness and you'll have greatness that is sprouting amongst you. If you sow seeds of discontent and evilness and ugly, then that's exactly what you're going to get. And that's my prayer for people. I wish upon you what you wish upon other people times 1,000 on you. Talk to people nice and you'll get nice responses. You'll get treated better. Always come in whining and complaining, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to get it the other way around. And I don't think that that's an unreasonable ask or prayer. If I say I wish upon you 1,000 times what you wish on me, good or bad, I think that is I don't see that as an unreasonable thing at all. And so I treat people good. I tip well. I take care of people. I pay people. I just got a deposit. I just seen it hit. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pay the family. As soon as I get out of here. As soon as I get off this live stream, the first thing I'm doing is sending out Zales. Not Zales, sending out wires. First thing I do is I'm going to send out wires. First thing I do is pay the people. And guess what? They loyal and they treat me well. And they was loyal before that. Somebody said, what's 1,000 times nothing? You're going to be more of a nothing. It's going to hurt. You're going to be more invisible and more dustier than ever. That's what it is. So let's get it, y'all. Let's continue on with the show. All right, y'all. We got to get into this UPS thing. I'm gonna shelve something today. I'm gonna shelve the Bitcoin conversation. I'm gonna push that till tomorrow. Y'all got me derailed. Anyways, let's get into UPS. So this has been a topic of conversation. Heavy. Everybody been talking about it. And let me tell you why they've been talking about it. The same reason why they was talking about UPS drivers getting to the bag. Remember when union negotiations was happening? It was a little bit before the UAW got their contract, right? And women started looking at Brown. No, not that Brown. Brown. When Brown delivers. Y'all don't remember those old commercials? Okay. So UPS, usually they had this big old campaign where they was basically on some Brown delivers. And because they have Brown uniforms and they drive Brown trucks. And so they was basically highlighting and promoting the company to get people to buy more and spend more on delivery from UPS services. And so recently, within a year ago, they got these contracts and they was saying, oh man, with overtime, y'all can make this much money and this much money and so on and so forth. And so people were enamored with the big contracts. And then a lot of the other unions started to follow suit, the UAW or whatever. But what the union don't understand is that they basically killing their own jobs and they don't realize it. But I'm going to break it down. This is the latest update from a driver, and then I'm going to break it down from a financial analyst perspective. And then we could talk about it in Stock Club on the next Stock Club too. And I'm going to break down exactly what y'all need to look for when y'all looking to invest in certain type of companies like these. But let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys so that you'll understand. This is from a driver, and this is what the sentiment is.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me again. Okay, so obviously I touched the nerve with some people, or maybe some that do, and they just don't quite understand. So I just want to kind of cut through the chase and just stick to some of the facts and explain things a little more clearly. So some good things came up in the comments, and I wanted to talk about that stuff, but I made a little list here. I just finished working. I'm on my break, so I'm just trying to make a quick video just to update you guys. But yeah, I'm really surprised at the response I got from the last video. It's still going. And it's like, wow, people are definitely interested in what's going on, as they should be. Okay, so first of all, let me just clear things up. UPS drivers, the guys like myself, the people that are delivering the packages, are not being laid off. UPS is not even trying to lay us off. As far as I know, there's still plenty of work for the UPS delivery drivers and even the feeder drivers at this point to be doing what they do. UPS is not trying to lay us off. There's no concern that if somehow we don't take the buyout that we're going to be laid off. That's all fine and dandy. Everything's on the up and up as far as that goes. Now, with this whole thing that they're doing with the smart hubs, the 200 new hubs that are going to be converted into automated hubs and all that kind of thing, okay, there's a big transition that's going to happen at that point. Who knows what's going to happen with contract negotiations? The shit's going to hit the fan with that as far as I'm concerned. So in 2028, sure, there's definitely some risk about people being laid off because we may not even have a contract at all. But that's separate, okay? So what I was trying to explain in the last video is they're trying to convert these hubs, and the people that work in the hubs that actually push the packages, load the brown trucks, load the trailers, unload them, and all that kind of stuff, they're the ones that have jobs that are on the line. And UPS is more than likely going to be laying off a bunch of those workers, okay? Those are mostly part-time workers, and that's what we're talking about. There's still plenty of jobs for the delivery drivers. That volume hasn't really changed. Everything's on the up and up as far as that goes. But that'll be phase two, I guarantee, because let's be honest, with all the automation and everything that's going on these days, I mean, we already have vehicles that can drive themselves, right? Tesla has proven it. That's going to be perfected. It's just a matter of time before the UPS vehicles drive themselves to each delivery point, each pickup point, and then there's some kind of Tesla robot, or maybe 3 or 4 of them, that walk out of the truck and deliver the packages to the house real quick. There's even like, you know, a Tesla bot or 2 in the back of the truck while the truck's moving, already grabbing the boxes, right? So that's a whole other topic that I'll do another video on. But again, UPS drivers, our jobs are fine. We don't have to feel like if we don't take this initial offer that we're going to be fired or laid off. That is not the case.
So, UPS, let me bring y'all up to speed on what's going on. So, after these contracts were ratified, the costs over at UPS in order to have these people working there, the drivers, all of whoever it is that worked at UPS, they got a raise. Well, guess what? The cost of doing business was still the same, if not increased more, of what it took in order for them to have operational costs, right? Meaning that the company's costs went up, but the profit is going down. Why? Because Amazon is starting to either move stuff over into a lower cost carrier like FedEx, or they are moving more things in-house, meaning that Amazon is expanding its reach while at the same time cutting costs. Here's the difference between an Amazon and a UPS, right? UPS is doing everything based off of their delivery services. Amazon is basically subsidized by all of the rest of their businesses, including AWS, which is the biggest profit driver and generator. Amazon is not even worried about being profitable when it comes to its delivery services. It's Prime services. It has a subscription model to where they can actually predict how much is going to come in every single month or every single year when you renew your Amazon Prime. So Amazon can operate at cost or slightly above cost in profitability because Amazon is more focused on growth than they are on profits, which is one of the reasons why they are expanding their footprint, and they can make capital investments in what? AI, physical AI. I did a whole live stream on physical AI on this channel. And the reason that they're moving into physical AI is because they can A, control costs, B, don't have to worry about people, C, don't have to worry about unions, and D, they can absolutely continue to innovate and make things faster and quicker and deliver it faster to your house. So their warehouses, for example, are starting to become mostly robotics, right? It is being able to move packages back and forth based off of the volume that comes in, and everything is basically automated. Whereas you got this little young thug in there, he's stealing packages. He trying to figure out where the jury is coming from. You know, he calling off sick. His mama always got something to do. He gonna go on TikTok and talk about how you fired him because he didn't do his job right. They don't have to worry about all of that no more. And they don't have to worry about a union like Teamsters negotiating and saying, hey, listen, we want more pay, right? So aside from them losing a ton of business from Amazon and the costs are going up, now they also have to invest themselves in their own smart distribution centers in order to continue to keep up with the Amazons, with the FedExes, and even the USPS is beating up on UPS. The United States Postal Service. Why? Because the United States Postal Service can always get bailed out by American taxpayers, and they have never been profitable, right? But they know that they can basically be subsidized by us, whereas UPS is a publicly traded company, and if they don't make profit, then they die. Then they die, right? So now what UPS is doing is they're offering a buyout package to try to get people to retire, natural attrition, if you was looking at another job, and they can cut costs. So they're going to make the buyout packages to the people that make the most money, seeing who they can get to take the buyout package, which is not that much. I think it's like anywhere from $18,000 to $3,000 per year for every year in service. So if you have been there for 10 years, 20 years, it's not going to be that big unless you was looking to retire. Then that pushes you out the door, and then it allows for them to be able to promote people that make less money up into being drivers, and so they have natural cost cuts. And so UPS is basically trying to cut costs by roughly $1 billion per year. $1 billion per year is what they're trying to save on costs, because it costs them more to do business, whether it be the contracts that kicked in or whether it be the loss of business that came along with doing business with Amazon and so on and so forth. So innovation is coming. Innovation is going to continue to be here. It's coming. It is happening. It is not something that you can avoid. And all of the drivers are basically telling each other, hey, listen, don't take the buyout. Don't take the buyout. Let me add another part of this before we jump into the analyst expectations and so on and so forth. I just want to share something else with y'all. When unions, and I told y'all this with the UAW contract, I told y'all this when it came to Amazon, or not Amazon, UPS. When unions fight for egregious amount of wages, essentially what they're doing is they're putting their days, they're numbering their days, because they basically have created a situation where you can't sustain the business model, and more people are going to get laid off, and they're going to accelerate the innovation aspect of the company because they have to survive. When unions go in and they say stuff like, hey, listen, we need to make as much as a CEO, we need to do this, we want record wages and all of that, even if the company gives in, it's a means to an end. That's why I told people that work for the big three, I told people that work for UPS, I told people that get into these contract negotiations, when you make this money, don't sit on it. Don't think that that is going to be the thing that carries you into your retirement. Listen, it's good to get your money, but it's not good to depend on the company. Get educated, go back to school, start your business, work on the things that you need to work on. Don't increase your life. Oh, baby, we got a bigger bag. We can get a bigger house. Oh, we can get a new car. Yeah, we can do this and do that. No, you need to be making sure that you live the same lifestyle, and then make sure that you invest in things that ultimately will carry you, or that you don't have to be dependent on the company long term. I did a live stream. It's so funny, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute. I did a live stream. Y'all remember the live stream that I did last week where I criticized Tucker Carlson, and I said that Tucker Carlson is so far removed because he don't truly understand that why houses are more affordable and stuff like that. And so I did a clip. I clipped it up, and I put it up there. And I know that the people that were watching the clip were completely separate from the people that actually watched the live stream. And everybody said that I was crazy. Everybody said that I was crazy. Somebody said, go back to school so AI can take your job. Dusty mindset. Why wouldn't you want to be the AI engineer? Why wouldn't you want to be the cybersecurity professional that oversees and makes sure, because that is going to be an exploding career? Why won't you want to be the machinist, not the machinist, the person, the programmer that ultimately has to be there to ensure that these machines run efficiently inside of these facilities and things like that? Why wouldn't you want to be the cloud engineer? Because we're going to have more data passing through than ever before inside of, because of AI. Why are we not proactively looking to where the industry is going to be in 10 to 15 years? But instead, we decide that we want to just be dusty. Yeah. It is. It's a drain. It's a drain to look at people be dusty. It is a drain to look at people be dusty. Like, I did a whole live stream inside of the Patreon that is incredible, that basically breaks down exactly how you can leverage AI to increase your productivity, accelerate your business, get a leg up on everybody else, and how you need to pick which careers you need to pick as a result of the explosion of AI. Everybody that watched it, everybody that rewatched it, everybody that was in the live stream was blown away. They said they loved it. It's inside of the Patreon right now. But instead, you'll have people that is not familiar with how it is that you can leverage the industry in order to be successful, and they'll be the biggest critics of it because they don't understand and because they don't know what they don't know what they're doing. They just don't know what they're doing. It's insane. It's really insane. I'm gonna hold off on certain conversations. Let's continue, y'all.
Oh, this is a great question. We need to bring UPS into that equation.
Yes,
too.
we do.
And I don't want to be negative on UPS, but there's just immovable economic forces at work here. What's happened in the last 20 years is we've seen FedEx Ground develop this independent contractor network across the country, and it's grown significantly. And Amazon effectively replicated that 5 or 6 years ago. So you have these two very large, low-cost, high-service networks. And effectively, here's UPS that's fully unionized, fully Teamster contracted, and they're really struggling because they're the high-cost provider with incrementally more challenging service. So the way we see this, and we saw this play out in the less than truckload sector, because there was a big competitor there, Yellow Roadway, which was unionized, and Old Dominion, which is one of the highest valued stocks in my sectors, really took a lot of share, and ultimately Yellow went out of business. So I'm really worried that this uncompetitive dynamic where UPS has a contract that the others don't, we see parcel shift going towards Amazon and FedEx long term.
So what's the play on UPS? It's a dividend play, right? I mean, what else is there?
I think they're yielding 6 or 6.5% right now, and I don't think they're going to cut the dividend anytime soon. But if you listen to UPS, Amazon is a 20% customer in their domestic US network, and Amazon's shrinking that by half in the next 2 years. It's
Don't be finessed by a dividend. A lot of people don't know what a dividend is. I'm gonna break it down for you. I break all of this down inside of the Patreon extensively from a C student's perspective. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. When companies increase dividends, a lot of times they do it in order to prop up the stock because they don't want the shares to fall. But they do it sometimes, not all the times. But sometimes a company could be losing business, or they can be dealing with costs or issues or problems or loss of business or whatever. And then they'll increase the dividend payment to make the stock more attractive. People that are ignorant will a lot of times buy into a stock just so that they can get the quarterly dividend payment. That seems like a lot, but the value of the company is actually going down because they can't sustain it. And a dividend is basically them returning shareholder value. So whatever profit that they make or profit that they don't make, they issue this dividend every quarter in order to make the stock more attractive. It doesn't always mean that the stock is doing well just because they issuing another dividend payment. All right. So just be careful. Just be careful. All right. I'll break down and I'll go more into this UPS thing as I get more information throughout the week. But I just wanted to wet your beak a little bit and give y'all some insight on why y'all need to be a lot more mindful and paying attention to more than just dick and pussy. You need to be paying attention to what's happening in the markets and why these people are doing what they're doing, because it could be a buying opportunity. It could be an opportunity for you to make an adjustment. You might need to, realign your portfolio. You might need to sell some stuff off depending on what your portfolio look like. But make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Chris Cunningham says, when you go on these rants, you need shiesty time. Well, I don't have my shiesty mask here because I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? I wish the best for you too, Anton. Just a brown girl in America. I wish the best for you times 1,000. Jay says, 80, don't stop the truth. Keep preaching, bro. Shout out to you. Lou says, they say you become what you consume the most. I've been reading the Bible while soaking up all of the content you provide daily. Also rewatching previous upload videos on Patreon. AD is the blueprint. Shout out to Lou. I like that. Easy Money says, I'm a full-time UPS driver. The last contract was mainly for the workers inside, and they went from 15 to 21. The drivers only went from 39 to 45. This buyout is more for the drivers who have over 30 years. Yeah, they want that natural attrition. They want to push certain people out. Mr. Joe says, do you think the unions are more helpful or harmful to employees? Well, it depends on what type of employee you are. I think that is more harmful than helpful. 100%. I think that the days of the union and what their value is has shifted over time from when it was, when it was conceived. I think that they're more harmful than helpful. Should we start investing in the data centers? I don't think that you need to invest in data centers per se. I think you need to invest in companies that leverage the cloud in order to generate more revenue. Jamani says, 80, what's your take on high yield savings accounts? Is it worth it, or are you sticking to your brokerage accounts? I don't believe in savings accounts. I believe in brokerage accounts. A savings account is just a way for a bank to continue to get your deposit so that they can issue out more loans, so that they can make more money off of your money. I believe that there are much better investments that give you a higher yield on your money, and that's why you need a brokerage account. And that's why we got the Patreon. If you just want to have something that's super safe, but most of the time it doesn't even beat the rate of inflation of what the value of a dollar is, and get a high yield savings account. It's nice and safe. But if you actually want to generate a lot of revenue and you're looking to get rich and you're looking for your money to compound, then you need to have a brokerage account. That's my advice. Make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. Let's pivot. So let's go over to the WNBA. All right. So the WNBA players are now whining and complaining and crying and talk about pay us what you owe us. Let me say that again for the people in the back. They're whining, they're complaining, and they're saying, pay us what you owe us. So I'm going to share this and show you how they pulled up to All-Star Weekend now. First things first, I didn't even know that WNBA players had All-Star Weekend this weekend. Bro, I seen them women, because I did the article on Pay Us What You Owe Us. And I seen them chicks and they was shooting, I guess they had bonus shots on the court trying to mimic the men or whatever. And Angel Reese shot at least 2 or 3 air balls. Angel Reese shot at least 2 or 3 air balls. Let me see if I can find that. Give me a second. Oh, man. Let me see if I can find it. This is horrible, bro. This is horrible. If y'all ain't seen these, this is crazy. I'm about to share this with you real quick.
Here's Angel Reese firing away. Off to Reese. Angel Reese has been on a tear of late. With the Mercury, Nate Tibbetts, their head coach, their system.
That's horrible.
With shooting. And
This is so bad, bro.
They haven't even been fully healthy yet, and they've had 1 or 3. Here's
She missed the entire rim on some of these shots, bro. It was bad. It was really, really bad. It was really bad. So listen, let me say this. Well, before I say it, let me show y'all exactly what they let me show y'all what they were saying and what was going on, and then we'll have the conversation. This is how they came out.
We've all been covering it for nearly 2 decades, but something important happened before the game. As you know, the collective bargaining agreement is under discussion right now between the league and their players. And before the game, the players came out without their warm-ups on with shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." There is a feeling among the players, as they expressed in their meeting on Thursday, that they want to have a piece of the revenue. It has been record-sharing revenue.
So that's how they came out. All right. They came out with the shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." Here's more of what they had to say. And I'll share this with you guys. Here's more. Let me see this. Here's more of what they had to say.
We feel like we are owed a piece of that pie that we helped to create. So that's basically what that is.
Nafisa, next question to your right in the front row.
Nafisa, Nick Hamilton, Nightcast Media. Speaking about the statement that you all collectively made and having the fan support, what do you want the other fans that may not fully understand what you're fighting for? What is the message that you want to convey over for the rest of the season? And are those shirts that you guys will be wearing, for the remainder of the season as well?
I guess I would want people to understand that basically we get a very tiny percentage of all the money that's made through the WNBA, which obviously is through our entertainment, the entertainment we provide. And so we want a fair and reasonable percentage of that.
All right. Nixon says, "Big Dog Anton, I agree with the WNBA on this one, the pay issue." Okay, well, let's talk about it. So I did a little bit of research before I did my video yesterday where I was breaking this down. And here's the thing. We used to have a WNBA team. We are now getting another WNBA team coming to Detroit, Cleveland. As a matter of fact, our WNBA team was one of the best. We won 3 championships, and that was under owner Bill Davison before he died, and then they wound up selling the franchise over to Tom Gores at Platinum Equity, and then they moved the Pistons down to downtown Detroit from Auburn Hills, right? And so it was pretty good. Here's the thing, though. We wound up getting rid of our franchise. The reason why we wound up getting rid of our franchise, and the team, I believe, only has 13 teams. So let's do a little research, right? How many WNBA teams? There are 13 WNBA teams, all right? Currently, there are 13 WNBA teams compared to how many NBA teams? Compared to 30 NBA teams. And I heard that the NBA is actually trying to expand over to Vegas and Nashville and a bunch of other places, right? Here's the key. The WNBA lost a projected $40 million last year. This is a slight improvement from an earlier projection of $50 million in losses. So for the last fiscal year, they actually lost more than they on average would lose in the WNBA. On average, the teams Has the WNBA ever been profitable? No, it has been consistently operating at a loss since its inception in 1997. The league has been subsidized by the NBA. On average, I believe they lose about $10 million a year. In 2024, they lost 50. On average, they lose about $10 million a year, and they had one of their biggest losses last year. So now, Nixon, here's my question for you, okay? Here's my question for you. Because the NBA is profitable. Since 1997, which is, let's see, 2017. So they're a little over 25 years. They're between 25 and 30 years in their existence. All right. Let me ask you a question. What business do you know that can exist for more than 25 years and not be profitable and still be a business? I'm just asking a basic economic question. What business do you know? Because this is essentially money laundering at this point. Any business that loses for almost 30 years is a money laundering operation if it's still being promoted. Honest to God. It's a money laundering operation. As a whole business, it would have to be a money laundering operation. But because we love women so much, we love women, we love diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we love women, we subsidize it. And so basically, they're taking the NBA and they're taking whatever money is made from the NBA and they're giving it to the WNBA, and they making sure that they allow for them to be able to exist, because we have to have women if we're going to have men. Otherwise, society is going to get mad. Now, you finally got you with Caitlin Clark. And I don't believe that Caitlin Clark is even on board with this, because most of the women that's the real ball, like the women that's really getting to it, the Caitlin Clarks, even the Angel Reeses, they got deals that's outside of it that don't even matter about what it is that they're making in the WNBA. So, but at the same time, she can't separate herself and then say, well, I don't believe in what's going on in the WNBA. I'm not going to continue to have a conversation. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to have it. Because she can't get away from her sisters. And so now she got to basically continue to play ball. She got to play ball. But she make all of her money outside of the WNBA. And so she's not tripping about it. And so the WNBA is just a showcase for her to continue to showcase her talent so that she can get bags elsewhere. But again, I ask you the question, Nixon, how do you justify paying somebody what they owe? Because if you say pay you what you owe, like they showing right here, then that means that I need to give you a pay cut. I need to give you a pay cut, because you can't make what you think you make if the league is completely unprofitable. If I paid you what you owed, just basic economics, then that means that everybody got to take a pay cut so that we can make the league profitable, right? Or we got to make an adjustment. We got to make an adjustment. So when I see this, it's interesting to me because it shows me that women don't have the same interests. They don't look at everything economically. I believe that most of these women are Neanderthals, just like men. No, trust me, I'm not ragging on women just because they women. I'm ragging on them because I believe that they're just like men in their delusion. A lot of these sports players are not smart. That's why most of them, despite making millions, tens of millions of dollars, they are broke within 5 years of retiring, because that doesn't mean that they're smart just because they can put the ball in a hoop or they can run through a offensive line. It doesn't make them smart. I believe that most of these women are Neanderthals. And so when they saying pay us what you owe, of course, listen, I'm not hating on them. Get your money. Get your money. Get your money. Nixon says a lot of WNBA players have to play pro ball overseas for extra income. Nigga, so what? You got to go and get another job in order to be able to pay your daughter's tuition? Listen, bro, this is entertainment. What we talking about? This is entertainment. We're not talking about people that are firefighters and police officers and stuff. In the entertainment world, you get what you put out. Every comedian ain't gonna be rich. Every person that starred in a movie ain't gonna wind up getting a $20 million flick. In entertainment, the same as content creation, you get paid what you're worth. You get paid based off of whether or not you're selling tickets or bringing in revenue. If you're an artist, just because you've been in a game for a long time, or just because you got to go and get a second job, don't mean that you're supposed to get paid more just because you're a rapper or you're a singer. You're gonna have to sell some records. And entertainment is different. The reason why entertainers or content creators or basketball, whatever you want to talk about, the reason why they make the big bucks is because they bring in the big dollars. They bring in people that are interested in seeing you. And so as you generate more revenue, and you're more profitable, you'll get a bigger piece of the pie. They got to go overseas for extra income. So what? Former NBA players got to go overseas in order to make extra income. D1 players that never made it to the league got to go overseas to make an extra income, or they can come home and they can be just like Love and Basketball lady, Sanaa Lathan on Love and Basketball. You better get you a job at a bank. You better go get you a job at a bank. You better go do something. Don't listen. Nobody owes anybody anything. I don't know where y'all getting this from. Nobody owes anybody anything. Nobody. And so again, I'm not hating on them, because if they can finesse the league into giving them more money, then more power to them. But if I am an owner, you can forget it, big dog. You can forget it. Most of the NBA players in the 70s and the 80s, when the league was just starting to figure itself out before the Magic and Bird era, they had jobs in the offseason. They was plumbers. They were line workers. Some of them worked at Ford Motor Company. Some of them was, they had delivery jobs. I read about one NBA player in the offseason. He was a delivery guy for the post office. They went and they had extra jobs. That's why people be criticizing the older players and saying, man, y'all played against plumbers. They're saying it figuratively, but it was really a thing. They had to go get a second job until the league started generating more money. And then once the Magic and Bird era came through, Magic Johnson was the first, as late as that was, as long as the NBA had been in existence, Magic Johnson was the first $1 million player. Magic Johnson was the first $1 million a year player, the very, very first one. And so some people had to lay the foundation so that the people after him can go ahead and get a big bag. Some people had to lay the foundation so some people after him can go and get the big bag. Stop asking for money that you're not generating. If I do a podcast, right? Let's break it down from a C-student's perspective. How much do y'all think that podcasters should make? How much do y'all think that panel members on podcasts should make? Let's have a real conversation. How much do y'all think that panel members on podcasts should make? They jump on, they talk, and then they get off, and that's it. Not the ones that make the clips, not the ones that own the platforms, not the person that do the backhand, not the person that do the recruiting, not the person that try to figure out and produce the show. For a person that comes on comes on a podcast and talks for three hours, 3 days a week, how much do y'all think that they should make? Some people said $150 a show. Some people say 15 to 25K. Whatever. It's numbers all over the board, right? What if the podcast don't make no money? What if y'all just getting started with the podcast? Somebody say $500, $200 per show. But wait. What if the podcast is not making money? What if y'all just building it? What if you just getting started? What if the revenue is not a reflection of what people are advocating for people to get paid? How do you justify paying somebody something that is not generating enough revenue? Oh, okay. So y'all saying depends on the profits. Interesting. Depends on the profits. Oh, so you saying that they should get a percentage of the profits? What if the league itself or the podcast itself is not generating money or is operating in the negative? How much should they get paid then? Because now we're talking about WNBA contracts, right? Got to keep working until it's profitable. How do you know what to pay people until it's profitable? Because if it depends on the profits, then that would mean that you would get nothing if you are not profitable, right? Or you can pay somebody a flat fee and then you take all of the risk as the owner of the platform. And then you basically, if you're not profitable, you still got to pay them their money though, right? See, I'm trying to get y'all to forget it doesn't really matter about the contracts, all right? I'm using this as an example to illustrate to you guys. I want y'all to start thinking more like business owners. I want you to think, because y'all, most of us, we think like employees, and that's why we don't make a lot of money. Most of us think like employees. That's why we don't make a lot. When you go into a job, you're looking to see how much money you can get. You don't get what you need as far as the base salary and then to negotiate the rest of it when it comes to equity. That's why CEOs make an egregious amount of money, because they tie the performance of the company. If the company is not doing well, the Amazon CEO, he made $0 1 year. I think 2022 or 2023, nobody complained about it. Hold on. Amazon CEO. Andy Jasper, I think that's what his name. His compensation plunged, right? 1 year he made $212. The next year he only made $103 million in 2023. Why? Because his compensation was tied to the performance of the company. 1 year because he was a CEO of Amazon Web Services, Jeff Bezos promoted him. The next year when he was running Amazon as a whole, the company, his compensation was tied directly to the performance of the company, and he only made $1.3 million. Now, let's not be confused. He still made a lot of money and he's still balling. But my point is his performance and his pay was tied to the performance of the company. And nobody said, you know what, but Apple CEO made 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 million. You only making 1.3 million. No, he had to get paid based off of the performance of the company. And so again, I ask you guys, especially when it comes to these WNBA players, how do you justify paying them when the league has never been profitable and has been less profitable last year than the years before it? Less profitable last year than the years before it. How do you listen? People start panels, podcasts all the time. They don't make no money. And it's funny because some people will be doing it for free just because they like being on the panels, or they like doing this, or they like doing that, right? But then people are automatically saying, well, if you're a panelist, you should make this amount of money. Based off of what? Based off of what? How can you justify it? I look at Rory and Mal, right? I don't think even for a little bit that Rory and Mal's podcast, because one of the things that they, and again, I don't know the details of everything. One of the things that they criticized Joe for was that they was acting like Joe's podcast was it would only exist as a result, or it would only continue based off of the way that they contributed into it, and it would fail and it would fall. And I remember I did a review video and I'm like, man, Joe is gonna be fine. Joe is gonna figure it out. Joe can replace them and he gonna probably do better than he was when he had him. Joe killing the game. And that's not to say Rory and Maul is not doing okay. I'm sure that their podcast is doing just well. But when you become an owner, it becomes different because you have costs. You got to continue to invest in equipment. You got to pay people. You got to pay co-hosts. You got to pay camera people. You got to pay producers. You got to, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot that goes into a lot of that stuff. When y'all think like an owner, I want you to think differently, and that way you'll better understand exactly how to make a business decision. When I see people that just jump up there and they say, no, they should make more money based off of what? You don't have no data. You don't have no analytics. You don't have no real idea of how that is. Sometimes there have been companies, podcasts, videos, or whatever, where it wasn't even profitable and I was paying people out of my pocket, and I was in a hole dealing with that particular business venture or that particular podcast, or it wasn't yet profitable, but I was giving all of the profits over to, or I was giving all of the money that was even coming in, even though it wasn't profitable, I was still distributing it amongst the crew. Nobody asked me how I was doing. Nobody came to me and said, hey man, are you profitable? Or what do you need from me? Or do I need to take a pay cut? Don't nobody do that. Nobody does that. For years, I took hardly nothing because I was able to do it because I was generating so much revenue and other things that I had going on. But for years, I would take nothing just to make sure that everybody else was getting paid. Come to find out that money was funny still, but that's a whole nother conversation. But you know, when I take care of people, when I do stuff, I pay myself last. I pay myself last. So I heard y'all saying rest in peace, Malcom Jamal Warner. I'll have to do a whole separate video on that. But yeah, man, people don't know. They don't know how to run stuff. They don't know nothing about no business. They just be begging. Pay me what you owe. Okay, so I'm going to pay you nothing. Well, that means you owe me money. How about that? 50% SIP says, bro, I need an explanation on why the union is harmful. I'm a union person. Because the union kills jobs. They spend the majority of their energy defending people that is not actually adding value into the company. I think a lot of times what you see from the union is that they are looking to union members have, or union bosses and union leads, right? The union reps, that it becomes a political process. It's all about elections. So they operate in politics in the same way, right? A lot of times they'll sacrifice the future of the company in order to drive more revenue. So instead of them working with the company so that they can get more union members and get more people paid, if I was a union rep, I would be tying compensation to the performance of the company. So for example, you know, when people get paychecks or they get their profit sharing checks from Ford, Chrysler, and GM, you know what I'm saying? They're sharing in the profitability of the companies, but instead what they'll do is they basically prevent the company from being able to compete with other companies that's not unionized. And so a lot of times they're getting paid based off of negotiations, not based off of what they contribute into the company. And so it prevents the company from growing. Eventually the company dies. It leads to more layoffs. It leads to more people suffering, especially when the economic downturns. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people get laid off and never go back to work in 2008. And you're going to have boom and bust cycles. So whereas if you go and look at Toyota, right, and Honda and the Mercedes plants down south, they never laid anybody off. The Hyundai plant, they never laid anybody off. During the 2008 crisis, people that worked for Toyota down south, they never laid anybody off. They never laid anybody off. They have stability. They have comfortability. But then you have the UAW that's trying to go down there and unionize those workplaces. But in reality, those people keep shooting down the unionization of their plants because they don't want to be bothered in paying union dues for less representation and to lose their jobs. The union becomes anti-company. They're supposed to be working with the company. They're supposed to be working with the company. So I found that the people that have made the most money in their lifetime worked in environments that wasn't unionized. They're able to be able to add value. So I think that the union was great at one time. I think that the union has become a business in itself. And the only thing that they care about is the dues and to maintain power. And that's why you see a lot of these UAW bosses, Teamsters bosses, they wind up getting arrested. They wind up going to jail. They wind up getting arrested and they wind up going to jail. And so if you know how to add value, you don't need a union to protect you. You're just great at what you do. Most people that are in corporate America, most developers, they are at-will employees, but they never have any problems. Unions is dead, and they're going to run all of them jobs out of the United States of America. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. Let me read a few more super chats. Lou Poppy says, AD, I need that mentorship. I don't know. Mr. Joe says, Clark is the only player that deserves a raise. Just go. Nichelle says, so technically the WNBA is run like a nonprofit off of the backs of the NBA. Basically, yep. And the minute the NBA needs shirts that say pay us back. Malcom Jamal Warner is dead. Yeah, I heard about that. I see y'all putting that inside of the chat. I'll cover it tomorrow. Eric Harris says, AD, we have sad news. Malcom Jamal Warner died from accidental drowning. He was only 54. This one hurt because I grew up watching the Cosby Show and then years later his own show with Eddie Griffin. Malcolm and Eddie, live every day like it's your last. Live every day like it's your last. You never know. Paying that tuition, salute. Shout out to Canada Unholy. I appreciate you. Abe the Hunter says, I have a solution to the women players. Okay. They're not no C. Clark and Angel Reese. Get that local money like in car dealership commercials and so on and so forth. They just need some better management. They need better management. Yeah, man. Life happens. Life happens. In my Bernie Mac dollar bill voice, you ain't got nothing. You don't do nothing. You don't get nothing. Yeah, I'll try to cover it tomorrow when I get more information. So it's all breaking news. So we'll see what happens. All right, y'all. Let's continue on with the show. So let's deep dive into Tyler Perry. All right. We're going to go Tyler Perry. I wonder if I should shelve some for tomorrow. Yeah, let's talk Tyler Perry. All right, Tyler Perry recently pulled up on Kirk Franklin's show. It was actually Tyler Perry, Jeezy, Kirk Franklin, and it was one other guy. I think it was Derek. His name was Derek something. And I found it to be useful. And let me just say this before we deep dive into this whole Tyler Perry conversation. I want to say this, that I believe that Tyler Perry gets a bad rap. See, y'all already talking about Seth Zeman, all of this type of stuff. Y'all stupid, man. Y'all stupid. Honestly, y'all are stupid. Y'all are truly stupid when it comes to Tyler Perry. Because instead of you leaning into better understanding exactly whether or not he has given life lessons and information, because I'm going to be honest with you, I watched a lot of this. I watched a lot of this. I watched a lot of this whole thing. And here's the thing. I don't agree with a lot of what people's lifestyles are. But the one thing that I am going to do is I'm going to better understand exactly how they're leveraging business to run up a bag. We are so dumb because we will focus on everything except for the business lesson that comes along with whatever it is that he is given, whatever gems is being given out. I don't care about what somebody's sexuality is if that is not the thing that they are promoting. If the topic of conversation is not sexuality, what the hell am I sitting there talking about your sexuality for? I'm trying to understand how he markets himself. I want to get the information on how it is that he's able to build his contracts. I want to know how he's able to take over certain things, how he gets his deals. I'm trying to figure out how he built his whole studio and basically is kicking Hollywood's butt and putting them out of business. Man, I am a bag chaser. If the conversation turns into sexuality because he says, hey, I'm gay or whatever like that, that's a completely separate live stream. But if somebody is giving me information that I could leverage in my own life to better use it Why are we so easily distracted by the dumb stuff? Don't y'all know that that's how politicians are able to hide their hands or to do certain things that y'all ultimately agree or wouldn't agree with? You know what I'm saying? Like, politicians keep y'all distracted by dumb stuff because we are so easily distracted by something that don't add value into our life. I am trying to understand where the fuck the money is. I am probably never going to meet Tyler Perry in my entire life. And I'm okay with that. But if Tyler Perry continues to talk about some of the stuff that he was talking about as far as these gyms, I don't even care about Kirk Franklin. I don't care about Tyler Perry. I don't care about Kirk Franklin. But for me to not be objective, that's one of the things that I've learned in my older age, is that I'm becoming more objective. I've been able to separate how I feel about a person from the gems that they give. That is one thing that I am becoming an expert on. Yo, I hate it when you did this, but you smart as hell, though. Hey, tell me what you know about this particular issue. I don't want to hang with you. I don't want to go to the party with you. I ain't trying to kick it with you. I don't necessarily want to be friends as far as hanging out on a day-to-day basis. Hey, man, but you on the stage right now, can I get my values worth on this one? I'm able to separate it. I could sit here and say Steve Harvey is the biggest simp that I've ever seen in my entire life, but I'm trying to understand how he's able to shoot multiple shows at the same time, because that's something that I'm trying to accomplish. For me to not take the information because I don't necessarily like his book or his movie or something is way different. Way different. Somebody says only morale. I don't usually look at people that don't have no profile picture. Anton, you gotta understand. I don't have to understand nothing. People think that white men would accept the feminine black man. Why do I care what a white man will accept? Y'all still on this? The white man will accept. How many white men are y'all doing business with today? That's what I want to know. How many, because y'all keep talking about the white man, how many of them do you know that you actually are networking with, that you jumped on their jets, that y'all, you know what I'm saying, you got a contract with him, you deliver a service with him? How many of y'all actually are kicking it with white men that you're doing business with, is what I'm understanding. Because whoever the white man is, I would like to meet him. All of these people that y'all keep telling me about, can we please talk about them? I would like to meet them. Because if you don't know any, if you're not doing business with any, what are we talking about? How many of these people do y'all know that y'all doing business with? Cat Williams said it too. When the last time you met Cat Williams, and how do you know him? Because that's Cat's experience. This is what Cat is talking about on his platform that he's making a lot of money from, and he's selling out arenas. When the last time you talked to Cat, and can you call him on the phone? I don't know these people that you're talking about. In real life, I'm trying to take real life business lessons and then I implement them accordingly. I'm able to separate it. I can take the meat, spit out the bones, and rock out. Listen, man, get a profile picture before you keep talking to me. I believe that you jerk off in your socks when you don't have a profile picture. Let's get into this show, man. I don't have time to be sitting here talking to people that don't actually put on and know what's really going on. I don't have time for that, bro. Let's get into it.
What do I owe? How much do I owe back? Who do I have to bring along? How do I have to let some go? It's like bossology and family. How do y'all struggle with that tension?
I fired my aunt.
I feel her.
I fired my aunt. She said she wanted a job. She would always call, asking for money. I'm like, okay, I was sending the money. I'm like, listen, I want to help you. I don't want to help you build this thing, not be welfare to you. So let me give you a job. She wasn't coming in, calling in all the time. I'm like, okay, well, you got to go. Because you want me to hand you the money, but you don't want to work for it. See, that doesn't work for me. And it's the same way with my son. Like, he's 10 years old. Like, there's certain things that he wants. He has to do chores and work for it. Right. I don't believe in giving us things that are just going to handicap us. That is the worst thing you can do. And I've had family members that I've done that to because my mother has asked me to. And when she passed away in 2009, I sent all of them letters saying, listen, you got 60 days to become gainfully employed because I'm not going to keep supporting you like
Are
this.
you serious?
100%. They all got jobs. And it wasn't even jobs where they're making a lot of money, but it was a job. It was something else for them to do, to feel some pride in. Right. That's the same thing I would want somebody to do for me.
But do you still,
Most people, one of the reasons why a lot of people like to stay in the dark or stay out the limelight, and they don't want people to know how much the money they make or how much they generate, is because they know that it's going to be a whole lot of people with their hand out that didn't put in on it, that didn't build it with you, that don't want to work. We got this bad in the Black community in particular. We got this very bad. We have this very bad thing where we think that the world owes us something, and we don't have to necessarily contribute, and we don't have to necessarily grind and hustle or anything like that. And so, you got put me on, big dog. I'm supposed to be a millionaire too, or whatever. Or when when we tell people, you're gonna have to get cut off or whatever, we got this bad. We got this black tax. This black tax. Oh my God. And a lot of times, like Tyler Perry said, we do it for our family. We do it because Big Mama or our mother said, oh my God, we can't let them fall. We can't let this, we can't let that. And so we basically keep on handicapping people and keep giving them a crutch that they're not willing to stand up on their own. I believe that that's one of the reasons why, what do you call it? Welfare. Welfare is a permanent handicap for the rest of your life. You'll never, ever, most people that are on welfare, man, I don't want to make too much money because then I'm going to have to pay for myself. I don't want to make too much money because then they're going to kick me off of welfare. Ain't that the whole point? Is that you don't become a nuisance to the system? And when we become successful, a lot of times as Black people, we basically become a welfare check until we become broke, and then everybody go their own way. Athletes, Black athletes, they got to do this, they got to do that, they got to go buy this, they got to go buy that. People put they all into you. We banking on you to be successful. No, why don't you be successful? I had a conversation with my daughter a couple weeks ago, and she was tired. She was tired, and she was like, yo, Dad, I'm not sure I want to do this next competition. And I talked to her and I said, well, Leslie, how important is this next competition? And she said, well, it's team trials and, of that. And, I'm thinking, I want to go to the Olympics one day. And, this would feed into it because this put me this, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so I said, well, how do you feel right now? And she said, Dad, I feel like I'm about to go to this because we had to go out of town again. She said, I feel like I'm about to go to this because everybody is expecting me to, because, people are saying this is what I have to do in order to do this and in order to do that. I said, Leslie, let me tell you something. I said, you're 17 years old. She said, yep. I said, you don't have to do nothing you don't want to do. And she said, what you mean? She was like, you don't want me to do this? You don't want me to do that? I said, I care about you being happy and enjoying yourself and enjoying your childhood. I said, when we signed you up to do Taekwondo, I didn't sign you up because I felt like you was going to go to the Olympics. I said, this is something that you've taken a hold to and you've loved and you've developed this skill set, and it's translating into something that could turn into something bigger. I said, but if you never go to the Olympics, I'm going to love you anyway. I said, I come because I just like seeing you compete. I just like seeing you happy. I said, if this is not making you happy, if you feel like you got to start doing this in order to please other people, I'm going to make you let it go. The lesson in that was this. She wound up doing it because she wound up refinding, she had to reset and find a reason that she was in it. And so she wound up, taking a couple days off, and she discovered her love for it again. But here was the lesson for you guys and for her. The lesson was this. We already straight. We're straight. If you're doing this, if you're sacrificing, then you're going to have to sacrifice for the right reasons. Your childhood and you enjoying yourself and having a good life is more important than you doing it because everybody else have to do it. And the reason is this, is because I am not a parent that is depending on my child to become successful so that she can take care of me when she get older. So it's a different type of pressure, right? It's a different type of desire. I am here to be supportive. I don't need you. A lot of these young kids, and I ain't even just talking about in sports. I ain't talking about when it comes to success. A lot of y'all are living life through your child. A lot of y'all putting pressure on your child ain't got no childhood because you living life through your child, or you depending on your child to contribute. You got a son husband as a child. He got to pay rent, or she got to pay rent as soon as she turns 17, 18 and get a job. They can't stay home. They got to get out, or you pushing them to do this because they got to be successful in this space, but they not learning the life lessons that come along with it. You pressuring them because you a failure as a parent, or you're not as contributive as a parent. And so you're looking for them to buy you a house, to make it to the league and all of this other type of stuff, to take care of you when you get older. You're supposed to take care of yourself as an adult. You are not supposed to be raising a child so that they can take care of you when you get older. And that is the wrong way and we got it messed up in the community. We got it messed up amongst Black people. We got it messed up in our children. And our children are succumbing to the pressure, and they breaking because they never got the opportunity to get all of the characteristics, the things that, you was able to develop all the way up until you 30. You want them to be done when they 14, 15, 16 years old. You want them to do it. So now she's able to be free. When she goes to these competitions, when she goes to these places, she like, you know what? I'm playing with points on the board because I'm cool. It's a no pressure situation. She free. And so she gets to have fun. When she gets out of there, she gets to go and hang out with her friends at Top Golf and all of this type of stuff, right? Because I want you to enjoy your childhood. I want you to be everything. But we put so much pressure on the people that are successful in our families because we are not successful in our own right. You put pressure on your child because you are not what you're supposed to do, because you live on Section 8. I'm tired of hearing a story of people getting on the podium and saying, we ain't have much, I had to get myself to school and all of this other type of stuff. No, that's not the way that we supposed to raise our children. We supposed to be raising our children in a conducive environment, and we want them to understand it from a business perspective, not to just have pressure in order to get the next contract and putting their bodies on the line because they mama didn't do or they daddy didn't do what they were supposed to do when they was raising them. And our whole families a lot of times are like that.
Still get like the backsplash from that. How you said they wasn't making a lot of money, then they can look at you and say, well, why not? I can't have more. Why am I working next to somebody to make more?
I have family members got mad at me because I wouldn't give them $1 million.
And I asked Jay this question because I'm actually going through that right now. Wow. When you start getting success, people start calling on you. I just turned 38 today. Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay, happy birthday. And I'm going to be able to talk about this for the rest of my days. I'm sitting here with legends on my birthday.
But here's the focus, though. What are you trying to do? Like, what if you're trying to build a business to carry everybody in your family through? That's one thing. Right. And if you're trying to do that, then build a business. Yeah. What that means is you got to watch the family members that come putting holes in the boat when you're trying to get across the sea. Right. So sometimes you build a boat by yourself. Right. Y'all all wait over here on the shore. Stay here. I'm building this boat. I'm going to go over and build this, and then I'm going to come back and see who's worthy to come. Right. Because anybody who's going to drag you down or put holes in the boat or try to destroy you, man, why bring them over?
I had to get rid of my whole corporate. So I was in a situation 2 years ago where it's like make it or break it, right? So I was raising money. I never raised the money. Like at my statue right now, I never did a Series A raise. So to people in the culture, they like, how did you build this massive?
Some people asking who this guy is. His name is Derek Hayes. I think he created the franchise, and he has a whole lot of locations called Derek's Cheesecakes or something like that. So he's a pretty successful business person. And he's sitting there with Jeezy and Tyler Perry, so on and so forth.
Now franchising all over the country, and you ain't take capital.
Share with Tyler exactly.
Hey, have y'all noticed that Jeezy, look at the title at the top. It says J. Jeezy Jenkins. Have you noticed that Jeezy is starting to try to rebrand himself to be recognized as his regular name? Pay attention to the subtle things, y'all. Pay attention to the small things, because it's a reason why certain things has happened. It says J. Jeezy Jenkins. Notice that when he's in the presence of a Tyler Perry and people that do bigger business, not just rap, he not Jeezy, he not Young Jeezy, he's Jay Jenkins. I know he been on that, but here's you're missing it. Y'all missing it for the people in the back. When you are in the presence of certain people, you become Jay Jenkins. When we on stage, welcome Jeezy to the stage.
Exactly what you have been able to build.
So
I want him to know who's sitting at the table.
I've been able to take a cheesesteak brand, right, and I brought it to Atlanta out of West Philly, and I started in the Shell gas station, broken down Shell gas station, one fryer, one grill, and I just had this big vision of franchising.
How old were you then?
I was 26.
26, okay.
But I learned that I had to learn the business, what you just was talking about, because I was already on the grill. They was loving the food, but now when I'm sitting at the table with people like you and you and you, now they know business and I can't talk it. It's ignorance, because you can't have a business and not actually know how to run the machine. I had to learn profit and loss, EBITDA, COGS, everything. And right now I can sit at the table with anybody and talk about the level of business, because I'm putting the time in when nobody watching. I'm on my phone, tutorials, I'm teaching myself. And right now, I just got voted to be on the top 100 fast casual list in the country. No black man my age ever touched the list.
Salute.
May 18th, I'm going to go get my award. And for me, I'm doing it for everybody.
Somebody says he's been rebranding for the past, Losway says he's been rebranding for the past 3 or 4 years now. Let me give y'all a tip. You should always be rebranding. You personally, you should always be rebranding. You should always be changing and evolving and slowly but surely be rebranding every single thing that you do. You should always be rebranding. Always. Always. I'm never sitting still. If I am not a different, more elevated, evolved person this year than I was last year, then I know that I'm really doing something wrong. You should always be rebranding. Always be rebranding. You should always be slowly but surely evolving. When I see people say, man, you was different back then. I know I was different back then. I'm supposed to be different. You wasn't talking that junk 5-6 years ago. I know. And next year I'm going to be talking something different. And the platform is going to be different, and it's going to be bigger, and it's going to be better, and it's going to be rebranded. It's going to be corporate time. I'll tell you this, the Darth Anton channel, right? Because I'm about to start vlogging and releasing more vlogs. The name of that channel was probably going to change every single year. Right now it's Darth Anton. Next year it might be corporate time. Who knows? I don't know. I have no idea, no clue. You should always be rebranding. You should always be growing. You should always be putting yourself out there to be a different version of yourself. You should always be growing into who it is that you are and becoming greater. People may not have liked you this year. They probably gonna like you next year because you might be a little different. Stop staying the same over and over again, thinking that you're keeping it real. You keeping it real broke. Real broke out here in these streets. Let's see. I'm gonna shelf this. I'm gonna shelf the rest of this. Because I don't think that it's cohesive for me to go into these next subjects that I got prepared. So we're gonna shelve these till tomorrow. Let me read some of these super chats. We got the Q show tonight. It's gonna be a completely different brand. Me and Q was talking about it early this morning. I told, hey, listen, we pivoting into next generation. And so this show is gonna be this, next show gonna be this, next show gonna be this, next show gonna be this, next show, but it's gonna be subtle changes over a period of time that ultimately lead to a completely different, upgraded, hopefully more successful brand. We're gonna try this, we're gonna try that. It might be successful, it might fail. We're gonna pivot here, we're gonna try new conversations. When me and Q first started the Q show on Monday nights years ago, The only thing we talked about was relationships. Now we talk about culture. Now we talk about relationships. Now we talk about politics. Now we talk about a lot of things. People had to step their game up. If you wasn't prepared to talk about certain things, you probably going to look stupid on the panel. After hours, we branch into a lot of different subjects depending on what it is. We talk about religion, we talk about movies, we talk about politics, we talk about relationships, we talk about all kind of stuff. It's evolving. It's becoming its own thing. You know what I'm saying? So we'll cover the Malcom Jamal Warner thing tomorrow. But yeah, man, let me read some of these super chats and then I'm going to get you all up out of here for the day. And then we got the Q show tonight. DB Key says, wanting a bigger piece of the pie when your league has operated in the red for 30 years while 95% of your league look like 2,000 Allen Iverson clones and nobody really watches is crazy. That's a handful right there. Nitty says, AD, that's not completely correct. Sure, the unions play a part. However, it's agreed from corporate boards. Okay. Mainly private equity companies and CEO pay is what destroy companies. That's not true. It's not. That's completely not true at all. But I can deep dive into the union. I'll destroy the union tomorrow. Courtney Smith says, good day, Anton. Rest in peace, Malcom Jamal Warner. Let me ask y'all a question. Because I see these Malcom Jamal Warners. Let me learn something. Malcom Jamal Warner. Let's talk about it for a second. Let's see what's going on. Let's talk about it. Let's not end the show just right away. Let's talk about it. Let's spend 10 minutes on this. We ain't got to wait till tomorrow. We can talk about it right now. Let's talk about it right now. Bam, bam, bam. Let's talk about it because I got some thoughts. All right. Malcom Jamal Warner, dead at 54. Cosby Show star died at age 54. TMZ reported on Monday. A source confirmed that Warner's death to people. The insider claimed Warner was in Costa Rica on a family vacation and drowned while swimming. Costa Rican National Police told ABC News that Warner drowned near Cockles, a beach in Lyman, Costa Rica. They claimed he was caught by a high current in the water and was found Sunday afternoon. Warner's death was asphyxia, according to police. Goes on to say, however, no official cause of death has been confirmed yet. A Post reached out to Warner's rep for comment. Warner played Theo Huxtable, son of Bill Cosby's Cliff Huxtable, on NBC sitcom from 84 to 92. Dang, he was young. Goes on to say in 2021, Warner exclusively spoke to the Post about the legacy of the Cosby Show following Cosby's sexual assault conviction that was later overturned. He said, I can understand why some people can't watch the show and I enjoy it because of everything that's going on now. But I think there's a generation of young people who have pursued higher education or started having loving families because of the influence of that show. This was him back in the day. Him on the Cosby Show. He says, so it's kind of like you can't discount the impact on television culture and American culture. Warner was born in New Jersey in 1970, named after Malcolm X and the jazz pianist Ahmad Jamal. He began his career as a child performer. He attended the Professional Children's School in New York City. That's him. This is a more recent version of him. Looked like he aged well. He was a grown man, you know. He auditioned for the role of Theo Huxtable, blah, 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 nominated for an Emmy. That's him right there. Warner, after the Cosby Show, he starred in the UPN sitcom Malcolm and Eddie alongside Eddie Griffin in 1996 to 2000, followed by the BET sitcom Read Between the Lines 2011 through 15. Notable acting credits: Here and Now, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Listen Up, Community, Sons of Anarchy, Jeremiah, American Horror Story, American Crime Story, Suits and 911. From 2018 to 2023, he played Dr. AJ Austin on The Resident. I have seen him on that. He's also the voice of the producer character on the Magic School Bus. Most recently, he appeared in 3 episodes of Fox's Alert, Missing Persons Unit. It's crazy. He's survived by his wife and daughter, who he chose to keep private. Wow. So, in an era where everybody is clout chasing and everybody is trying to create a narrative, Malcom Jamal Warner just stayed to himself. He did his work. He took care of his business. He took care of his family, and he stayed focused on the bag. You know what I'm saying? And then he wound up passing away in apparently Costa Rica in a drowning accident. And so, rest in peace to him. It seemed like all of the good people are the ones that wind up suffering. It is tragic. It is unfortunate. I think that his career and his legacy is cemented. He seemed like a great actor. He never got into no mess. He seemed like he was one of the rare few child actors that didn't get caught up, that didn't drown as a result of the visibility and the fame and the fortune. He was married. He had a daughter, and he was on vacation with his family, and that's messed up. It's messed up. So I think that these type of people need to be celebrated in the culture. And I was going to do a breakdown tomorrow, but I just figured I just wind up acknowledging them today because it's important for us to celebrate the real ones. Most of the time, we don't get an opportunity to celebrate the real ones because we so busy focused on the fake ones. We so busy focused on people that is not valuable, that don't seem to take care of their business, but it seems like he was one of the real ones. Seems like he's one of the real ones. Yeah, man, it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. You got to pray for the family. Hopefully he had all of his ducks in a row. That is why I am constantly, every single year, around spring, summer, and the lesson in this is make sure that you got your ducks in a row. Make sure you live every day like it's your last, and make sure you leave it all on the floor, because at 54, as a man, he still had a lot of life to live. 54 is young. Yes, it is, Adon. 54 is young. You got to think, man, he probably had another 30, 35 years ahead of him. He could have did another 30, 35 years. You know, most men don't even get to the apex of their earnings until they're in their late 50s, early 60s. Guys, a lot of times they age better if you're not a boxer getting your head beat in and stuff like that. 54 is still relatively young, bro. It is. You got a whole nother back half of your life to live fruitfully. And so look at him. I mean, you could just look at him and say, yo, he had a whole life to live. Seriously. Like, he not looking dusty, he not rough, he not crippled and none of that stuff. He had a whole life to live. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I can't necessarily speak about the water and the currents, you know what I'm saying? But I will say that just live every day like it's your last. For me personally, every single year, I realign what it is that I need to take care of to ensure that if anything was to ever happen to me, that my family is straight and taken care of. It's tough. It's tough. I have nothing negative to say about him. He seemed like he was a cool guy. And here's the thing. He never got caught up in no mess. He was never in the news for some foolishness. Not that I'm aware of. And it just looked like he was just a cool family guy that took care of his business, worked, and he stayed to himself and he stayed out of the mess. And that's rare. That is very rare for a person, you know, that's in the limelight. Most people, you know, their personal life at some point spill over. It'd be a big scandal or something like that. If you're able to be a public figure for as long as he has, and is able to transition from the 80s all the way up into the 2020s and never get caught up in no mess, you should be celebrated. These are the type of people that we should celebrate inside of our community. So rest in peace to Malcom Jamal Warner. We got to send up a prayer for his family. Lord bless his wife, bless his child, and you know, life happens to all of us. We don't know what our expiration date is. If God told you you got 54 years on this earth, because that's the time that he died, because we all think that we going to age gracefully and we going to get old. If God tells you you got 54 years on this earth and then you're going to drown, what would you do differently? Like, that's the lesson that I always take out of this. How would you live your life differently? Would you be so focused on the BS? Would you be focused on whether or not people are or aren't? Would you be leaning more into things that are more productive for your life and having better conversations? Would you be building better relationships with your people, your parents, your daughters, your sons, your mother, your people? You know what I'm saying? If you knew exactly what your expiration date is, which I would never want to know what my expiration date is, would you live your life differently? And would you leave it on the flow? Would you live it like it's no tomorrow? That's how I live my life. Honest to God. Every day I leave it on the flow. I party like it's 1999. I enjoy life. I mean, you know, you do it responsibly, obviously. You still got to invest and take care of your business and, you know, be reasonable in your expectations. But I live life to the fullest. I live life to the fullest. Even when it comes to my relationship, I tell Rita, I tell my daughter, I tell everybody around me, I say, I am going to spend all of my time focusing on the thing that I like about you instead of changing you for something that I don't necessarily care about. I don't care about that other thing. When I'm here, I'm trying to have a great time. I'm gonna spend 98, 99% of my time on the thing that I love about you, and I'm gonna spend 1 or 2% of the time trying to solve for problems. You know what's wrong. I know what's wrong with me. I know what I got to work on, and so I'm gonna deal with that on my own time. And when I'm with people, I'm gonna just have a good time. I don't waste time on that bullshit. I don't. I ain't trying to waste time on that nonsense. You wouldn't go near water, man. Look, now y'all living in Final Destination mode. That's not the point. That's not the point that I was trying to make. You don't know people die from car crashes. What you gonna do? Not go into cars? You can't predict it. That's the whole idea. You can't predict what is going to happen in your life. All you can do is live life to the fullest. When people a lot of times they say stuff like, "Oh man, you know it's the end of times." Nigga, your end of times may be tomorrow. You don't know. End of times, and it's people that died regular lives waiting on the end of times. Your time is up tomorrow. You don't know. You don't know. So you got to leave it on the flow. Live life with no regret. Appreciate your parents. Appreciate the people that's around you. Show them respect. That don't mean that you got to embrace their lifestyle, but honor your mother and your father. Do the best that you can. Set things up, and then have a good time and enjoy the time that you got on this life, on this earth, bro. You know. That's it. That's it. Good show, y'all. Phenomenal show. Let me read some of the super chats, and then we gonna do the Q show tonight. Separate the baby from the bathwater. Facts, me University. DK Harris says, "Hey Anton, since you have experience in the banking sector, you have additional insight on Ripple filing for U.S. bank charter with the OCC. I can do some research. I'm not familiar with Ripple filing, but I can go and look at it. I'll go and look at it. I'll research it tonight, and we can talk about it tomorrow." David M. Williams says, "Recipes of Theodore Huxtable, Mr. Malcom Jamal Warner." Just a brown girl in America says, "Anton, you should do a content creator boot camp. Just put us in a house and press record." Oh man, y'all don't want that. There's people gonna be busting it down for a real one and all of that. Corey P says, "I think that, but that would be good for content. I always think I'm late on a stock coin, but I just imagine where it could be 3 to 5 years. Never have the fear of missing out. FOMO is the thing that you can prevent yourself from. There's always going to be more money to be made, new investments to make. Never feel like you're behind. All right. Do you enjoy statistics? In what way? Talking about like a statistics class or looking at statistics and data in order to make an informed decision? I enjoy the latter versus the former. Will you teach me? Says, ask the Black community, 13% of America is colored. Half are men. 15 to 40-year-old colored men make up 3.6%, but 0.37 commit 50% of the violent crime in the U.S., 70% of it is BVB. I don't know what BVB is. Shout out to 50% Simp. I appreciate you for the 20 ball and holding us down. I appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. We got the Q show tonight. We're going to get it popping. And life is good. Let's enjoy it while we got it here, and let's take care of each other. I love you. I appreciate you. Phenomenal show. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.